My eyes! My eyes. It's the Giant Bombcast. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Hi, I'm Jeff Gerstmann. It's the 14th of September, let's call it. And we are here to talk about all things video games. Jeff Baclar is here.
Yeah, I'm here.
How's it going?
The pitch of our voice today.
Yeah, it's high pitch week over here at the Giant Bombcast.
I don't have the diaphragm for that. Is that what it's called?
Diaphragm is a fun word to spell.
It's all got a bunch of P's and H's in it.
Yeah,
Some
there's a bunch of them.
Bunch of G's. I'm doing all right. I'm back. I feel good. I ate a lot of lobster. Lobster's still delicious.
By choice, right?
Why you gotta rub it in?
Force you to eat lobster?
You didn't show up to a dinner and people were like, "We're having lobster," and you're like, "Oh,
and just moonwalk out of there." No. No, it was on purpose. A lot. I did it 6 times, and I was only away for 5 days. It was really good. I was in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is
home of the chips.
Which is yes, and the chip we talked about this with Voidburger. The chip fucking factory was closed. Then they wouldn't give us chip tours because of COVID-19.
God damn it!
Taking so much from us.
That's the final straw.
Yeah,
the real tragedy of this pandemic. No, but it's great because
vaccinated
lobster,
you motherfuckers.
Yeah, God damn it! Let me go to the Cape Cod chip factory. Cape Cod is the little sort of flick at the end of Massachusetts that you might know from your geography class. The little flick at the end.
Mm-hmm. Or the little dingus there.
The little dingus that kind of curls up. And like I said, have you guys ever had a lobster roll? Do you have a preference for lobster roll?
I haven't. I almost died doing it.
One. Yeah.
It was worth it.
So you're allergic to shellfish is what I'm gathering?
Yep.
Okay.
A little bit.
Sorry about that. I don't want to rub in the delicious.
Oh, you already did. It's fine.
I feel
Delicious
bad now. It used to be considered peasant food back in the day.
Yeah.
They were look at these sea spiders that leech off the floor of the ocean, these disgusting creatures. Turns out they're delicious.
Yeah.
Put enough butter on anything.
Well, it's the butter, and it's I had a lot of mayo and the butter together on a toasted sort of bun. Man,
do you have any hush puppies? That thing up there as well?
It's not up there. I don't believe it.
I like a hush puppy. I like a hush
those
puppy.
are good. Yeah, those are nice.
What's a hush puppy?
I got some crabs in Maryland a couple of weeks back. I got some hush puppies. Hush puppy is what is it? It's corn. It's
like a stuffing kind of
cinnamon,
thing
like some kind of fried weird ball of.
Yeah, it's cornbread with cinnamon, I think. And you dip it
but
in,
sometimes people put
sweet
Nutella
sauce
in that shit because they're fucking geniuses.
Look, I may be an American citizen, but I'm gonna have to demand you say Nutella. It's got fucking nuts in it, not newts.
All right, Nutella. I don't care. It's fine. Yeah, I believe in saying things the right way, except for a specific video game.
He wants the hard nut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want that nut?
Yeah, get that nut.
Get that American nut. I still maintain that seafood is bad. Jason A. Stryker, you and me are aligned, but for different reasons.
Right.
Unlikely.
I'm unlikely on your side. I'm just allergic to shellfish.
But you can have a nice tuna.
Yeah, I could, but no. See, the rest of the seafood, I don't do. I'm not into it. But because fucking shellfish, probably because I can't have it. That's what gets me.
That's wild. You prefer shellfish over other types of seafood,
even though it would kill me.
I understand that.
I mean, enough of it might kill me, But like a lobster roll, like half of one, I can do and just take like a fucking Benadryl and deal with it.
Oh man,
But
you're
You just like drizzle
shellfish
children's
intolerant.
Benadryl over the top of it, just like pour some
That's
over
not a
it,
bad idea.
like a seasoning.
ingest it at the
That's
same
like
time. Yeah.
It got like a bubblegummy kind of flavor. I had to take some. We got
Damn.
trees trimmed, if you know what I mean.
Get some chewables.
And is
it time to roll the ads? No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
And I had a crazy allergic. I had a crazy allergy attack coming out of that. That I was like convinced for a little bit there that I had a cold, and I was like, it was like zombie invasion style of like I had to hide it because my wife was like, "Are you fucking sick? Because I am about to have a fucking baby, and if you were sick, you need to leave." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." No, I think it's just allergies, and it was just allergies.
Yeah.
But
Trees, man. I'm allergic to trees too.
yeah,
They'll
it's
get
Not
you.
those kinds of trees, but yeah.
Slow, but they'll get you.
Not your
Yeah.
mom's trees.
It's not your granddaddy's trees.
I don't know what you're talking about. American Daniel, NASCAR fan number 1. You love three things: Coors Light, shotguns, and pussy, because it's America. I don't know what. Wait, what are we talking about? No, guys, like you just took the test, so that's the old. When you're born here, they teach you that stuff in the 4th grade. But like,
Oh no, the
what
question was on the test. What are the 3 things America like? And it was Coors, Light, shotguns, and then there was 4 multiple choice answers, and they all said pussy.
Weird.
Oh,
Weird.
Jesus Christ.
That's yeah. Well, welcome to America, I guess. And how does that? How does that feel? What drove you to become an American citizen after all these years in America? Is it just take the hassle out of things? Is it?
Were you on the run from Ireland?
Yeah. Did you do some stuff when you were back there last time? You're like, all right, that's our last time going back.
We gotta go.
Is there a building you need to raid? Is there what's the reason you needed to become a citizen?
It was like partly like 7 years of visas and green cards and going through different TSA lines and like all of this type of stuff. Like partly that because and also like it's basically on a platter. It's not difficult for me to get citizenship. I'm married to an American and I have an American kid. So and Ireland, Ireland's fine. Ireland's like dual citizenship, no problem. Don't worry about it. So it was like partly that, and also just like stuff got dicey last administration where suddenly I have friends who were on other visas that were kind of Loctite, which suddenly became shaky ground, and then same from so it got a little bit weird there, and also immigration got super backed up, so anything I needed, like I had a green card go missing, so I had loads of weird stuff that I had to do, like it got sent to the wrong address. It wasn't my fault, but I had to like go through a bunch of loopholes and all this, so I wanted to do it. And also like at a certain stage, my daughter is American, my wife is American, like I have been here for a long time, and this will be our permanent home. Like we'll spend time back home, but it's like, sure, I pay taxes. I should probably, it's a country of weirdos like me who turned up, and some of them then had kids, and so I feel like in good company, sort of making the plunge. It was costly and tricky and all that shit, but I'm just glad it's done. When they sent the email, when I got the little update on my USCIS like immigration website, case closed, fucking like a weight just came off my shoulder. So it was like, great. Wow. Now which gun do I buy?
Yeah.
And I mean, have you made a decision? I mean, you want to get something nice like an AR-15, a nice American gun like an AK-47.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Kalashnikov, I think. Yeah. It came over on the Mayflower.
Yeah. Kansas, I think he's from.
What's the dumbest gun you can buy? Like not just like dumbest as in either biggest or smallest. Like is there something like, can I get like a little hidden, like a gun that's it's a pen, but it actually shoots people? That's
no, like the ones like you could, but I think you have to 3D print those these days. Those are just zip guns or something, I'm trying to think. Like they still probably make the tiny little pearl handled, guns they used to try to market to women in the 50s or something, like keep it in your purse, or something like that. There's probably some tiny little 22 you could get that would be real ridiculous.
Yeah, my grandma had one of those.
Nice.
Whoa.
Damn. I love the idea that like because you weren't a citizen, you somehow could not easily buy 50,000 guns before you becoming an actual citizen. Like, like that was the barrier for American, gun purchasing.
Yeah, I don't even know if I could have, to be honest.
You definitely
Maybe,
could
yeah.
have. I promise you could have
Yeah, or-
somehow.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, it's
If
probably
you had
upsettingly
cash,
easily.
would have been fine.
I think the only like substantive difference I know is that I might get called for jury duty and I can vote. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. Was what I was getting at is like, yes, I would like you to vote now.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
good.
So this Newsom
Today,
guy
in
seems like a
fact.
real nuisance.
In fact, if you
get me.
could,
Well, let's get them out the normal way,
Yeah, radio hosts are pretty good. We're all radio hosts. We can probably, run a state the size of a country.
I just
Sure,
found
sure.
out
It's
that
out of my
my
hands
close,
now. It's out of my
I
hands.
just found out my close friend knows the family of the mayor of Daly City, so I got a person on the inside now. We're gonna run this smear campaign right, everybody.
John Daly.
Whoa.
right.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think
The
it's
John Daly
Daly.
family.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I don't know if I should say rest in peace. He's been gone for a while.
Out there doing key tricks. So, Jan, as part of your smear campaign, I mean, are you eventually? Do you want to become the mayor of Daly City? Is that the goal here?
Yeah. I could do both, right? I could still work here and do that.
I mean, it's just Daly City, of course. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's going to take a lot of time.
I mean, we got like 3 targets now.
Wow.
And we got like only 2 libraries. We could maybe put a library on a Target.
Now you're talking.
Yeah,
just
sure,
like Maryland.
yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
library in a mall. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe open a dispensary and maybe a coffee shop that isn't a chain.
That's your whole platform. All right, you got my vote.
Yep.
I
That
guess
sounds.
Everyone
Jan
gets to
good
be
to me.
like
president. I don't.
Yeah, we'll get them all on the podcast.
Yeah, I think
1
equal
week-
time laws. I think don't like they might not apply to podcasts, but we should enact them here just the same.
Yeah, I'm not going to close any community centers down. In fact, I'm going to open more and just have podcast studios with our faces like on the walls. Just be like Jeff Gersman, and then it'll have like a fun quote. Like it'll be Coors Light, shotguns, and ellipses, pussy.
Yeah,
And then we'll keep cooking.
great. Yes,
and now that
we
I've
will
said
keep-
that out loud, my opponent is going to clip that out and make a smear campaign against me.
Mhm. That's right.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Round it
Got
goes.
him.
Yep.
But you need to
Damn.
control that narrative. You need to create the smear campaign that they create, and that's one that you can easily overcome. So you give them kind of some fake meat out there to get them to cause. I've had a couple of like friends of mine run for mayor of Petaluma over the years, so it's like you got a political mind, baby.
All of them
Hey,
successful.
Arliss of politics. There's probably a cleaner. I'm like Veep, but for real. No, I don't. Yeah,
what was
we're gonna
what
make
was
this
our
happen.
platform? There's too much fucking wine here now.
Well, one was a guy I was friends with like 25 years ago, and I think his platform was like, I got enough signatures to be on the ballot. That's hilarious, and that's about it. And then the other friend of mine who ran more recently, his platform was like, I'm from here. No, most of the people in city council are not,
Damn.
and they are continually like letting this town go over to like they are overdeveloping the town without like putting any kind of new roads in or anything, and they are ruining what this town had, which is noble. But that ship sailed. It's a part of why I was like, yo, this town fucking sucks now. So
I feel the
good
same
luck to
way.
him.
There we go.
Yeah. But yes, the
It's out of
wine.
your hands.
The wine ruined the wine ruined Healdsburg. The wine ruined Petaluma. It will continue to ruin a generation before me. It probably fucked up Marin County in a handful of different ways. But anyway,
It's the spice melange of Northern California.
yep, yeah. Get the fuck out while you can.
Sandworms.
Another news: my house is up for sale. So if anyone wants to move to wonderful Petaluma,
Oh,
it's a great
cool.
place to live. Let's talk about some video games. What do you think?
There's a bunch of them.
A lot.
There's a
We're
bunch
getting
of
into
them.
it. We're getting into it. Jeff, I hope you're
we're-
sticking around for the next couple of weeks because there's going to be a lot of games to cover.
Yeah,
And,
no, yeah,
yeah.
I'll be here for all that stuff. I'm certainly not going to vanish for 6 weeks.
You could just hold off. You could stay in there for a while, or
I will. Yeah, that's. I'll see what I can do.
There's a drug for that, right?
Probably. Yeah. I
don't know.
I mean, actually, there probably is at this point. What are the side effects? Death.
Yeah.
Deathloop is out. Speaking of death.
Speaking of death.
thought we weren't going to get out of that one. Phew.
Yeah. Backlar, you've been playing this for a while. Danny, I think you've played a significant chunk of it. I put about an hour into it last night as well. What do y'all think of the Deathloop?
It's pretty great.
Oh.
Freaking love it. Freaking love it. You know, real big. I feel like Danny, you're on the same level with me there.
Tricky game to explain to people. I see why they had trouble in the marketing. We had a real up against it in the quick look. Yeah, to try and it's telling that the opening 2 hours is basically the tutorial of the game, and it's like 3 or 4 missions. So it's a lot. I'm not. Do we want to cover that ground again? I feel like we've been talking about what this game is for a while now.
I mean, I don't. Maybe not. I don't know. So, just for my benefit, is the tutorial kind of what they consider the longest day? That's like the first big quest you get.
I think,
and then a bit more maybe, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't think there is necessarily an end to the tutorial either. I think it's just sort of,
never stop
where
learning.
you sort of realize like the cord's been cut, and you're just like, oh shit, I'm drifting, by myself here. And, I think it's going to be different for every person that plays it. I think you're going to realize at some point, when it's in the quick look, this game has its own language and you basically have to like learn how to speak it. And once, I'm probably close to like 20 hours now. And I think the top level-ish way that I've been able to describe it, like the way my wife has heard me talk about this a lot. And she's like, all right, show me your stupid game. And I said, okay, let me just try and like wrap this around you real quick. And what I said to her was, you're basically you're repeating a full 24-hour day in quadrants, in 4 quadrants, right? Times of day. And you also have 4 maps to decide where to go at any of those times of day. And the goal of the game is to take out 8 visionaries who live on this island called Black Reef. And the island is stuck in a time loop, 24-hour time loop. Every night it goes back to the beginning. And you have to figure out, and go through these sort of beats and discover how to kill all of them in one shot, in one morning to evening shot. And that's kind of like the surface level sort of pitch. It's way more layered and complex.
That's pretty good.
Underneath
like
that.
It's like, for me, I've been thinking, to be super reductive, it's like Groundhog Day Hitman, where you are basically getting this amount of level mastery, at the start when you go into one of these levels, because there's 16 levels basically, right? There's 4 times of day for each map, and the maps are different during the times of day because this island is kind of weird and weird stuff happens on it. And
but even sometimes it can be as simple as like there's a garage that's open in the afternoon or something, but it's only open in the afternoon.
Yeah, and those visionaries kind of move around the map as well on their own, and also based on things you do. So if you do something to one area in the morning, like there's one guy who's doing a bunch of tests, and if you mess with that test, instead of finding some results that means that later that evening he's, still at the testing zone cranking the numbers, he might go to a party that's on a different part of the island. And the whole idea is that you're basically trying to domino these people into different places so that in one particular 24-hour loop you'll be able to kill all of them. But it's not something like you can do right away. Like the game has objectives, it has like weapons you can unlock or you can acquire, and powers that you can acquire from these visionaries. If you kill one, they each have a power. Like one of them is basically blink from Dishonored, another one makes you invisible, etc., etc., etc. And then
you're able to keep these powers as well, correct?
You are. That's
the
sort of progression of it, is that each day when you wake up, you start with nothing unless you have infused something. And then anything you've infused with this sort of currency, like this time currency, time juice that you pick up, called residuum, anything you ever infuse with that will be at the start of the next day, including stuff you've done on previous loops. So, any gun that I've infused, any power that I've infused, any trinket, which is basically an upgrade to a power that I've infused, whenever now I wake up on the first day, be it because I've completed a day or because I died. I think you have like 3 deaths basically in a day because of one of the powers. When I wake up that next morning, I have a loadout that I can choose from, which is everything that I've infused. So, 10 hours into the game, you've way more stopping power and abilities than you did at the start. It's not like a roguelike where you're starting from scratch every time.
Yeah. And I think that's how they make it. To me, that is it makes it so sort of tolerable. And it does not really feel like you are in this constantly repetitive sort of thing. I mean, if you can play it that way, like you could also like when you're in between the times of day, you have the ability to fast forward or wait rather for another time period to unlock. So if you wanted to go to this location morning after morning after morning, you could do it. So there is that idea of like, you would get the full effect of what the time loop is, but the way it is structured and the way it kind of holds your hand, they've kind of disguised a time loop in a linear-ish kind of game, which is, I think, the wildest kind of achievement with the whole package.
I think I was almost worried. So I'm pretty early on, especially compared to you guys. But like the first thing I tried to do was break it, or try to see if I could just repeat the thing that it just had me do, even though it was showing an objective somewhere else. I was like, well, if this loop is a loop, then I should be able to go do this. And I guess that's like the nature of the island. And Juliana, the woman who is your rival / friend, whatever that relationship actually is, I don't know. But like, so the first thing it has you do is go to this library and pull a lever, and then you jump out a window and die and wake up on the beach again. But in the process of that, you learn a door code, or learn where a door code is, so that you can get through a door that you couldn't get through on your first time through. And so you get there and you're like, well, now I know the code. I can enter this door. And I was like, but I'm going to go kick open these wood planks again and run all the way down there and see if it will let me do that whole process again. And you get there and the door is locked. And it was this process of like, well, wait a minute. What is actually, why would it be locked if this is a time loop? And why wouldn't we just do the same thing again? And I guess that's kind of like the nature of the world is weird. And there is a sensible reason why that happens. But,
that's funny.
But then I just had to run all the way back basically and enter the code door. And to actually move the game forward. So I was surprised initially at just like how linear that part is. So hearing you say that, and you see on the menus where it's got different times of day and all this sort of stuff. It's like, so last night as I was wrapping up, it was starting to fall into place where I was like, okay, I think I see how this is going to go. Like you're seeing notes that say like, hey, I'll be back this afternoon, or I'll be back this evening, like very clearly denoting a time of day that you see on your pause screen and stuff. And you're like, okay, it's falling into place what this game is going to ask of me as we go through it. But like now that you're out there in the world and kind of getting in there, does it really feel like you have like full autonomy over what you do and when, or is it still like, will it guide you in a direction? Could you play this without really considering, like, I'm trying to think how to ask this. Do you have to figure it out, or does it put an objective on the map that says, go here and fuck with this guy's tests so that he goes to the party?
Yeah, we talked about this on the quick look a bit, and I think it's one of the things that surprised myself and Jeff a lot, is that it doesn't labor you with that at all. Like everything that you hear goes not just like in an objective thing, but like there are 2 particular pages that are almost like sort of, that mad board with all the wires, and literally says like, oh, this happened, you just learned this, which is connected to this, and then it'll have an objective at the end, which is like the next part of this quest is this. So at no point do you have to like pull out the Outer Wild style, like get a notepad and pen and try and figure this stuff out. It's very, and also I was worried because like that's one of the things in immersive sims that they really try not to do. Even like having objective markers in games like Dishonored was kind of a no-no sometimes because they wanted you exploring, and they lean into it in this. And I can see how it would have been a scary decision, but it's 100%. It allows you to focus on the how you do it, not what you're doing, which is ultimately what's so cool about this game. And for me, it solves this like massive problem that has been the sort of thorn in the side of the immersive sim since almost its inception, and certainly since they went open world, which is that games like Dishonored, right? They're a game where you're basically targeted with this one objective, which is to kill somebody. And you do everything in service of that. And they craft these amazing levels which can be replayed in multiple ways, where there's so much like dynamic gameplay stuff that can happen, emergent things that can happen. But because we're used to like the first person games where you play through them, and also because these levels are pretty long, usually people just kind of play to get to the kill and then do the kill, and then maybe they replay the level or maybe they don't. And what's cool about this is that because the game is like broken up into these quarts, right, for the time and the level, and because then you basically go into each level with kind of one thing you want to do, maybe there's a second thing, it just allows you the freedom to just care about that thing and do that thing in the most interesting way you can. Whereas if it was stretched out over an open world and you had all these objectives, or if it was like Dishonored, which you have to kind of play the right way to enjoy, the game, the only way to play this is that way. And it just makes it so that like, I feel like this is going to be the game, hopefully, that punches through the ceiling and gets people to like really engage with what makes immersive sims cool, which is that replayability and learning a level and doing things in different ways and figuring it all out.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is that, and I guess this is the one thing that I've really not unpacked for myself. I mean, from my preference, I'm super, excited about how that game handles that relationship you have with it, right? Because I wonder if there are people who will play this and just be like, this game's doing too much for me. Like it's holding my hand in a way that is like, I don't need it. And for me playing it, I think it's been fantastic because the conveniences you are afforded for my money give me a better understanding of the story. They give me a better understanding of like each location. You can read all the documents, you can read everything, and you can, ingest all of that content and information. But what Danny's saying is just totally spot on. They've kind of massaged that over in a way that just feels good. You don't, outside of that initial, sort of delirium of like, where am I? What is this game? How does this work? Once you break through that, I feel like that balance that is struck is really a great way to kind of play this game.
Do you know that feeling you have when you go to sit down a game like Dishonored or like Prey? 100% suffered from this, and I think Hitman does as well a little bit. When you're about to sit down, you're like, I don't want to do all of that. Like it just seems like a big. I'm not in the right mind space, right? So then you go and play something snackable. This is like the only snackable immersive sim I've ever played, where you can just go in and go like, I want to do it easy this time. I just want to fuck around, maybe kill some people and get some residuum, or maybe I do want to do it as subjective. But they're all like, I feel like you can easily spend, like last night I did a level that I actually spent maybe in like an hour and 20 minutes in, just because I was doing this big complex thing that I really liked. But you can just get in and out in 20 minutes and do a thing, like, or 10 minutes. It's really like, it's the complete opposite of these games a lot of time, where Prey is a game you have to like, there's no hard stop points in it. And it's like one of the best games immersive sims ever made, but it's kind of a, it's intense. You kind of have to like get ready to play it. Whereas this, you can just like, it's weirdly snackable for one of these games.
Huh. That's cool. I think that was maybe one of my bigger worries about this. Like the more we got our hands on it and started talking about it, was that feeling of just like, man, for me, it's decisions. For me, it's like you get up to these major decisions, or you start to, like, Dishonored's a great example, because you get in that mindset of just like, well, if I'm not going to do a non-lethal run, should I even start playing this game? because you already know
Totally,
going
yeah.
in that like that's a thing. Or am I going to go hardcore and just like let the rats run and just go crazy? And so I get hung up on like, okay, I don't want to play one of those games down the middle because that seems like the weakest version of the narrative or the least interesting. If it's like, well, you killed some people, here's what you get, and you're like, all right, well, that's clearly I didn't play it right.
And that's
like
why
I got
people
I got to the point in Prey,
right?
where, like there's that point in Prey where you start to get like powers from the additional source, and you're like, oh, but when I forget what it's even called because it's been so long, but like there's the idea of like you can get these powers, but like there's kind of a backlash on that. And I stopped playing right there because I had to sit there and go like, well, the right way to play is to not take any of these.
Right now,
and
imagine
I was like,
you're
but I
playing
want to
game.
take them, but like I don't. And then I stopped. I just like fell off of Prey completely.
So imagine this one, right, where like you don't even have to choose about powers because at the end of each day, you just pick which powers you want again. You only have 3 slots, but you can have like loads of powers or loads of guns. So you just pick, or like, so save scumming is like the biggest problem in immersive sims, right? Because of that choice paralysis that people have, where they just want to have the best experience that time. And what's cool about Deathloop is that like sometimes it all just goes badly, and I'm like, I'll get them next time. Like, I'm going to be through this level again. Or I did a thing where I had to make a choice with a weapon and a thing I wanted to do. And I said, oh no, I kind of would like to do it, but I don't really want to do it now. On a different day, I'll come back around and do this mission again because it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's very design is a safety net for you to keep doing that stuff over and over. Like that's the coolest thing. Like they are literally having their cake and eating it because it's like they are afforded all of these luxuries, right? When you for people who would worry like, oh, I'm playing this wrong or I'm not doing this. Like, all right, do it again. Like do it again. It's you know, there's progress you can make and you can, you know, see it the way you want to see it, which is another reason why when I'm playing this, I don't feel guilt of you know, shooting or stealthing my way through. It's sort of you know, and again, like when you kill people, they just sort of like zap out, you know. It's this, it is a they skirt around so much stuff, but because of its part
it feels
of
like a very
DNA
streamlined
like,
version of it where it's like and even they're like, I think when you kill the first person, they're like, there's a little bit of smoke that pours off the ground where you killed a guy, so an enemy might see that. And it's like, okay, well, there's still kind of a consequence there, but even that seems like a limited time thing because that eventually dissipates.
And they are very generous with the amount of like noise and how close you can get to people. I think generally anyway. But it's
actually that was the first time when I started getting like picking up bottles and trying to distract like the crowd in front of the library and stuff like that. I'm throwing bottles at a distance that seems like that would be the right distance to kite them all away, and they don't even hear it at all. I'm like, well, what the okay. These people are fucking deaf. I'm just gonna walk past them. Like, duh. Like, like overthinking all these early scenarios and realizing that it feels like that they have tried to strike that balance of just like, let's make like we've made games with these concepts and they are certainly appealing, but can we make that appeal wider without necessarily alienating people who liked those games to begin with? And I wonder if those people will hit a wall with it where, like you said, like it's maybe a little too hand-holdy for people that are used to immersive sims as they have been, but the ability to kind of replay them in bite-sized chunks without having to start a whole new run seems like it would be even appealing to them. And then there's the multiplayer side of it. The game's just kind of out as of last night, so I don't know if you've messed with that at all, but
it's heated up a bit, like since yesterday, like because it was pretty quiet last week because I'm not sure how many codes were out. So I tried to do some of that stuff. Yeah, so for people who, I know a lot of people, there was maybe the marketing was a bit confusing and folks thought this was a multiplayer game. The game is basically single player, but you have invasions almost like Dark Souls, where you can play as Juliana, who is one of the 8 visionaries you have to kill, but she's different in so far that she also, her AI version may just like, especially if you kill a visionary, might just turn up and try and kill you. And she's about as hard as any of the other bosses, kind of. She comes up in the quick look actually, so it's worth checking that out if you want to see how that sort of rolls. But also you can just basically play multiplayer and be Juliana and invade someone else's game.
Yeah.
With the idea, I think, of just is it accruing more residuum or something? I'm not quite sure what the actual benefit is.
Is there a separate tier or separate like tech tree for her or something? I have not finished
not
the longest day
dabbled.
yet.
I
so it
don't
doesn't
think
unlock that.
Yeah, I don't think either, because it like the loop, protect the loop, and whatever the other one is, invade the loop,
Break the loop.
Yeah.
break the loop, are basically two different menu items on the front menu. So I don't think it has any consequence whatsoever on your single player game, except maybe some currency comes over or something. But it's not. You don't need to do it, and also you can just play offline, and she'll never invade. Compute and player controlled versions of her won't invade your game, but she still invades as an NPC every now and again,
Right.
which is cool. It's like a sort of a weird little twist that can happen every now and again, and you either have to kill her to get out of the level, or you have to find an antenna to hack that'll open the tunnels back up for you to go back to your safe house. So it's like an added wrinkle. The game does a lot of like allowing you to add wrinkles to the level by like doing an extra objective, or messing around, or doing something in a particularly tricky way to get the best version of the outcome. That's one of the few ways in which it sort of imposes a weird thing on you. But it's cool. I feel like it doesn't ruin a level if it goes sideways, because you can always go back again on the next loop.
Yeah, I mean, at most you stand to lose whatever you acquired on that loop, right? If you haven't infused it, or if you've got like, hey, I found this gun that I want to take back to the tunnels so that I can make sure I keep it, or some trinket that's going to reduce recoil on a gun or whatever.
And you can do
you stand to lose.
And you could do the infusions in between each day, like in between the 4 quarters. So it's not like you have to wait till the end of the day to then infuse stuff. I do a lot of like running around and trying to find residuum and then get a gun early in the day that I can just kind of bank. And then be a little bit more flippant maybe in the evening with the lives I have left.
Huh.
Yeah, it's fun. You find little grooves and patterns that you continue to follow and how you play it. And I was telling Danny in the quick look, like I found real early on, I was trying to get way too greedy, like harvesting all this residuum, and like you have one bad run and you can't get out of the situation you're in, and you can lose a lot in a run. But again, like you start to realize patterns and see ways that make sense for you to get stuff, and you are never really screwed. Like that's the thing. You are never really completely out of options and stuff. I think the one thing that I'm starting to realize that I think might the one noticeable ding that is becoming more and more apparent. I was talking about this with Russ Frushtick a little bit, is that the variety of the powers, I think, are gonna maybe fall a little flat for some people. I think for me, it's like that shift one that you teleport is like the go-to. I feel like everyone's going to rock that. And then after that, there's not really a 1A. I'm sorry, a 1B. You know what I mean? Like shift is probably your 1A, but then after that, it's like, all right, kind of rotate that second slot out a bunch. And, I just don't know if there's another killer sort of, power for that.
It's really funny to see. It's funny to see how few they have.
That choice.
Yeah, I mean, you swap them out a lot. And it kind of, I guess, in a way, it encourages you to try them all out. I mean, some of them are kind of throwaway, but yeah.
But there's not that many of them either, which is good, because one of the things, I mean, we just finished, like, we did arcane documentaries on basically every arcade game over the past 2 years over on NoClip, and one of the things that kept comes up a lot in the Prey doc we're putting out this week, is that they have been guilty in the past of putting too many powers in those games and just completely overburdening the player with what should I be using when, how do I combine these, and to the point where people just like end up not using a lot of them because they're freaked out by it, right? So it was interesting to see how few of them there actually are in this one. It's neat. I'm so excited for the reception to this game, because it feels like the way I talk about when I'm finally playing Moon Crash and like wishing there was this groundswell around it, because it kind of does some of this stuff. But it really hit. Like the review scores have been really added. I wonder if expectation was part of this. Everyone kind of came in wondering if this game was going to be good or not.
Right. I think the trailers did a good job of like setting a tone for it, and I think the game itself, I think, holds to that tone, or at least what I've seen of it. I think it holds to that tone pretty well. Like I like the writing that I've seen so far. Like a lot of the dialogue I think is really just clever and cutting and fun. And so I think it does that well. But like in terms of just like what is this game? I mean, hey, it's a Dishonored that they found a way to streamline to make accessible to more people is something that people who write reviews of games are going to like a lot, because Dishonored obviously did very well. For me, so like I haven't gotten the blink or any of the good powers yet, and like my worry is like the blink ability in Dishonored I felt was like I hated the way it was implemented. Like I just the way it highlighted where you were going, or just like I felt like I never really had full control over it. So like my worry is I'm going to unlock that and just be like, ugh, it's like Dishonored, God, and then not want to play any more of it.
It's a bit of that.
Yeah,
you know, the whole like, am I over this ledge or not? You kind of can't tell. There's a bit of that going on.
Yeah. That was always my big problem with Dishonored. Was that stuff specifically? So yeah, that's maybe like my worry. But like playing a chunk of it last night, I was like, this seems really neat. And yeah, hearing you talk about kind of like how it opens up and when it opens up, I'm like, okay, that makes a ton of sense, because that was the striking thing for me, and it was the wondering of like, is this just for a tutorial segment of just like it's straight up like, hey, here's the door you need to go to advance this quest, and you can go in and track different quests and highlight different areas of the map and go do stuff. Was weird for this sort of game. Like it just felt like a little kind of handholdy, but that, I don't know. Also, I really like the run. When you start running, Colt does that. Like there's a bit of a dash at the front of it.
Yes.
And even while you're running, you can hit it again to kind of juke.
Oh.
Yeah, you can.
And
you
so
can juke. I haven't used that a lot, but they give you that real early on. They're like, don't forget, you can kind of like strafe a little bit. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, yeah, if you're just like holding up and diagonal, you know, he'll kind of juke side to side while you're in a run still. And I thought that was really, it took a little bit of getting used to, in terms of just like the movement on this feels weird compared to a lot of other first person games. But kind of as I got used to it, not that it had like a much tactical use yet, but it was definitely this feeling of like, there's something about this that feels good to do, and I want to keep doing it. And now I'm just like juking my way up streets like an idiot for no good reason. But it's like a fun little weird thing to do. Yeah, exactly. I'm the Gabe Logan of first person shooters.
There's one thing that came up in the quick look actually that I figured out the answer to. Bacalar was wondering if he said that at some stages he thought that the AI was actually getting tougher, because they're not that tricky, you know, for a lot of the time. Apparently, as the day goes on, some of them just end up like getting sloshed and are so like sloppy that like by the end of the day, some of them are like super easy to kill, because they're just like, you know, they only have a knife and they're. But there are other ones who have spent the day killing people and getting their powers up. So I didn't realize that. You sometimes run into those ones. So
because they'll spill all their trinkets after you kill them, and you're like, oh damn! You're like, this person was loaded. Yeah. Like they had a day.
It's pretty cool. It's cool. But at the start of the day, they mightn't have, right? Yeah. So it's it's neat. Like, and we haven't talked about the aesthetic, but it's like, it almost is that like the We Happy Few sort of look that everyone was really excited about. Like it's that sort of, you know, 60s
but Saul Bass kind of vibe.
Just like fun jazzy stuff. Like
it's so good. There's like there's like sweets machines full of
for
drugs.
The messages that pop up in the world, I think, is out of step with the rest of the look of that game. Like it's got these kind, you know, the kind of torn edge, kind of like wavy, ghostly look that it has. Makes sense, but then when you compare it to the rest of the aesthetic of the game, it's like, I almost wish that font was different, but that's like a dumb whatever. But
we'll mod that. We'll get that. Yeah, we'll get that. I'm sure there's a mod pack.
Speaking of modding, I have either of you checked it out on the PC? I have seen a lot of people saying that the PC version is janky.
Oh, really?
I've heard
someone in chat say something about mouse problems. I've seen other people say that it has like really high system requirements, which seems a little weird, because I feel like that game looks really nice, like artistically, but it doesn't seem like it is like pushing a ton. You know, it doesn't.
Simulation stuff, maybe, but it's not even that type of sim like Hitman. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like you can't. Though you do have a pretty good Duke Nukem-esque kick in this game.
Oh yeah.
You can't kick books off shelves. Like it's not like everything is a physics object. A lot of stuff is definitely nailed down.
There's not. I don't think there's that many. Like, I guess they're handling a lot of NPCs, so it might be that. But there's not a lot of like if you kill this NPC, then this thing will happen. You know what I mean? It's which is
like
a big part
math
of the
there.
yeah. Like Hitman is doing insane things under the hood because if you kill this person, then this and this will happen. Whereas that's not really the DNA of this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a shame. They've been making PC games for a long time, so hopefully they can patch that stuff.
Yeah. I've been playing on PS5 with performance mode is what it defaulted to. I guess you can set that at the system level, so that's probably how I have it set at the system level. But runs at 60, looks pretty nice, and all that sort of stuff too. So a lot of people in chat saying de novo. Yes, that's right. It does have de novo. Perhaps it is the DRM.
Do it.
Doing that. What else? WarioWare.
Oh.
WarioWare. I forgot to write it on
They're
this
just
list.
little games.
But
They're the tiniest little games. Adorable.
Micro games, some call them. WarioWare Get It Together came out on the Switch on Friday. It's different, and they have pulled back on unlockables in a way that I find unacceptable for a WarioWare game.
Wow.
That those games are all about like, oh, you're unlocking all these crazy trinkets and all these weird little things to goof around with as you play, and this just doesn't seem to have any of that. I'm at the last stage now, and
nothing yet.
It's very short. WarioWare games through first time through are not long experiences normally. So if you haven't seen this, and there's a demo out, and we played it on the show on Friday, there's a video up on the site of that. But like the hook here is that they have turned the cast of characters of the WarioWare franchise into characters you actually control, and all of them have different abilities. And so it's a situation where like WarioWare or Wario can hover around and do his dash that he did in the side-scrolling platformer games, and there's a guy who can jump, and there's a guy who shoots, but he only shoots up. There's a guy who kind of swims around, and so what it will do is it will have you pick a team of 3 of these characters, or later on 4, and then it will kind of randomly cycle through them as it throws these micro games at you. So you have to figure out not only what do I do in this micro game, but also how do I use this character's abilities to make that happen. And first time through, that sometimes can be a little much in a way that if you're like, okay, I think I know what to do here, but by the time I'm making it happen, time runs out or something like that. And you're like, that like it's a weird experience of like, oh, like, and you might have it multiple times because the next time through you might have a different character. So it's not like you're like, oh, next time I'll get it. Next time you're faster at one part of it, but then it's like, oh, now I'm this character. And some characters kind of suck when you're playing alone, especially. So there's Cat and Anna, and there's 9 volt and 18 volt or whatever, the cab drivers. Actually, it's not those guys. Where they have built them for 2-player, because the game does have a 2-player mode. And so it's a case where player 1 only shoots to the right and player 2 only shoots to the left. And so if you're playing alone, that character just always shoots to the right. And some of the games are built in such a way that you might need to do something to the left, which you can use your body as an object to make those happen. It's not like the game is impossible. It's just not fun when you get those characters. And so it's just like for a game with a relatively small cast of characters to have 2 so far, unlockables be that vibe of like this character only does their thing in one direction because it's meant to be used in 2-player, kind of lame. Like I thought it was pretty weak. And I don't know. It's an interesting gimmick, but and obviously like WarioWare has always been built around control gimmicks and crazy stuff, right? But usually that's been built around the specific constraints that a system provides, right? So like when it came out on the DS, it was touched, and you're like, okay, I'm touching the touch screen. Obviously, I'm using the features of this crazy hardware that Nintendo made to make this happen. Or they put out a cartridge with a motion sensor in it. So you twist it. You have to like twist the whole GBA to make it happen, and they've used those to great effect over the years, and so this game, because it's on a Switch that is technically a console, so they can't take advantage of the touchscreen really, because you might play it docked. And so they have to account for like, okay, we just need to make this happen with a regular controller, because we can't guarantee that someone might be playing this on a Switch Lite, so they might not be able to detach their Joy-Cons and play it that way. And so they've been constrained by the Switch hardware in this weird way, to where they have to come up with this additional gimmick of like, oh, you play as the characters now? And it's like a neat idea. Like, I guess I kind of see why they kind of came to that. I just don't think it's as fun as just about any other WarioWare game. Even going back to the original, which was just like, here's a GBA game with no weird control gimmicks. It's just D-pad and button. Like I feel like that was a more entertaining representation of these type of micro games. I kind of feel like that maybe controlling the characters ultimately detracts from the experience, but I'm still kind of going back and forth on that. And so like, like it's kind of no surprise that, much like the other WarioWare game for consoles, or two, I guess they did one for GameCube and they did one for Wii, right? Or was it just the GameCube one? But I feel like they were largely built around split screen,
this is a Wii
competitive.
Yeah, definitely a Wii one.
Yeah.
That Wii one is the one I am thinking of as like, man, this is the other disappointing WarioWare game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was my first, so it probably doesn't.
Yeah,
it's just like Mario Kart. Love your first one.
The Wii one was the one where it was like you had the different positions. That's what it was. It was like, oh, it's the Mohawk position, so put the thing on your head and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's it feels slight for a WarioWare game, which those were already kind of a little slight, unless you got way into the crazy unlockables, and it's just
it's like full price,
$50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is that full price for a first party Switch game these days, or they go 60?
Up there.
I always forget. Yeah. So I'm sad. WarioWare is one of the greatest franchises in the history of goddamn video games. And
get it together, WarioWare.
I know, right? Cool. I am always looking forward to. So is this? So east of the Mississippi, is this WarioWare? Where are we at on this, Jeff Bakalar?
It's Wario.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can all agree on that.
You're not the first person to do this bit.
I'm not. I just want to hear the explanation here.
Yeah, because that's like, first of all, that is a fucking fake ass name. Okay, it's not a name.
Oh, wow.
That people have. Okay.
I mean, culturally insensitive.
Do you think someone has named a child Wario?
100%.
Yes. Yes, Dan Reichert is alive, so yes, someone has named a child.
He'll if Dan decides to go down that road, that child will be named Waluigi.
Someone on behalf of Dan, I'm just saying, has named their child. Like Dan probably had, that was probably like a feature of a stream where
I was like, I'll eat two hot chips if you name your kid.
And there's Wario's all over this planet now.
I got the stats if you want them. I got the stats.
Okay.
Wait. Was this global or U.S.?
This is U.S.
I'm gonna say there's like 2,000 Warriors.
Now card sharks. I'm gonna say there's 12.
Okay. Bakalar is weirdly close. There are fewer than 1,673 people in the U.S. with the first name Wario.
Scale.
And there are this opens up a real can of worms. There are fewer than 124 people in the U.S. with the last name Wario.
Oh,
plot thickens.
So somewhere there's a Wario.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know if that's guaranteed. But interesting.
The game is closer than ever before.
Look, I don't know what it is. Like we do this a lot, and I get it. It's my thing. Yeah. I am cursed with it. But like that is how people say it where I live.
Totally. I mean, yes. That's in Little Italy where you live right now, where you're sitting.
No, the only person that goes against the grain and it's just his culture hates him for this is Vinny. Mm-hmm. He says and Italian people hate Vinny.
Oh yeah, we all know that.
Oh yeah, just despise.
Cereal.
I had him one day. I think I did this with him. I had him one day call up Mario's Pizza, where I used to live in Hoboken, and I'm like, listen to the way the guy picks up the phone when he calls. He doesn't, right? So he doesn't pick up, and he goes, Mario's Pizza. No, he's like, Mario's Pizza. What do you want?
Yeah,
that's how I've been trained to do it. But you're right. It's Wario is to Mario. It doesn't make sense.
okay, so
yeah, I can live with that.
In cases where you have met people named Mario who have introduced themselves as saying like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Mario."
I don't think I've met anyone like that.
Okay, all right.
That's my point. Like, I don't think I've met any Mario that's like, "Hey, my name's Mario."
All right.
I think it's always been Mario. Like,
What
who's
about
a famous Mario?
R&B
Mario
artist.
Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti.
Mario Lemieux.
Mario
R&B
Lemieux?
artist
Yeah.
Mario.
Wario
Oh,
Andretti.
Mario Lemieux, yeah.
Mario Cantone. That comedian guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't go by Mario.
So in this fantasy scenario where you do meet someone who introduces themselves as Mario, do you
I'll
respect
punch them in
that?
the face.
Okay, all right. Oh, you deck
Dude,
them,
of
you
course
just
I
like
respect
elbow
that.
smash.
Yeah. No, of course. Like, if that's how you say your name.
And why do you
I'm gonna-
disrespect Mario every single day?
You got me cornered here.
He says,
like,
"It's
I
a
feel
me,
like there's a.
Mario."
I get it. He's like, it's a me, Mario.
Yeah.
It's crazy that he says it that way.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Chats. Look. Someone in chat says, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I work with 3 Marios. They all tell me to call them Mario. Hi, Jeff. I'm Mario Lopez. He says Mario Lopez, right? Does
Mario
he say Mario?
Lopez.
Mario
Mario
Lopez.
Van Peebles.
Yeah, he's wrong. Well, whatever. Look, but yes, like I would, if someone introduced me a certain way and said their name a certain way, you are obligated to reciprocate the way you've heard it. So sure, just like the people who spell their name Jeff with a G, we think they're mad, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Do I have to respect your name spelling now that I'm American? Is that part of it now? I can't give you
What
shit.
is that about? What did I do? My name? Our name?
Americans, you can't deal with the complexity of a J-E-O. You gotta just make it J. It's like
Is
the U is an
that-
honor. Americans just can't deal with a U. They're like,
Is that well,
how do
all of
I
a sudden,
say this word?
All of a sudden, see, now you're a true American. Now you're very anti-American. Let me say,
It's because we're living life in the fast lane over here.
Oh,
we've got things we have to get done and no time for extra U's. Strip it down. I want to go even further. Any F sound that's a PH, let's just get rid of it. Let's get rid of the PH. One letter. We have one letter that could solve this. F.
That's an interesting thought.
it's a great letter.
Danny, is GEO Jeffrey? Is that a regional thing? I just thought that was just like fancy people thing.
No,
I didn't realize that
every
was
every
exclusive.
Jeff in Ireland that I would know would be GEO. Yeah. FF.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, JEFF is an American thing to me anyway.
Huh.
Maybe it's I've never seen it anywhere else.
Drop the second F, I say.
Oh, I wish I
Efficiency,
could
baby.
change
Needs
that.
them.
Kidding? Oh,
Jiff.
What about the? Do you need that E then?
Just-
Kind of brings into question.
Jiff.
just GIF.
Jiff.
Probably not.
Jiff.
I just need 3 letters to enter high scores on an arcade machine.
Hey,
So-
that's
Your
why I just
surname's
started using
long, too.
Jan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Jan, you got the secret.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't get me
DOD.
started on the Jan and Jan debate, though.
Oh my God, people say Jan.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
sure, yeah. Like
Yeah.
the Rolling Stone guy is he? Yeah, he's Jan.
Jan.
right? Is that
I'm not gonna get into it. I refuse.
all right? Okay.
Jan
I
de
don't wanna open
Bond,
that door.
right? Come on.
We got more games to talk about. Why don't we take a break and we'll come
Okay.
back and talk
Yeah,
more games. And
Bacalar has to have some gabagool.
Yeah. Fresh gabagool for your face.
Ugh. Grubhub, let's get it. That's right. It's time for you to eat. You know what I mean? You're busy, you're doing stuff, you're in the middle of living life, and you don't always have time to prepare food for yourself, let alone get out there and pick it up. And that's where Grubhub comes in, because Grubhub serves restaurants. That's right, all the local restaurants in your area, the national chains, whatever you are craving, Grubhub can make it happen for you. And they're going to take care of you, because good food deserves good service, delivered fast, fresh, and exactly how restaurants intended it to be. You know, restaurants work hard to serve their customers, and Grubhub works hard to serve them and you, to make sure that everyone gets what they're looking for. You know what I mean? And if you're looking for something a little extra, Grubhub has a little bit of a deal here on Panera. You can get a free delivery perk on your first order from Panera of $15 or more. You can order now through the Grubhub app or online. Grubhub, we serve restaurants. Let's get it where it is an erection. That's right. Blue Chew. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Blue Chew is a unique online service that will deliver to you in your home a chewable that contains the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but at a fraction of the cost. These tablets from Blue Chew are designed to combat all forms of erectile dysfunction, to help men get that extra confidence when it's time to perform. What do you mean? Like do a podcast? No! It's time to perform. Fucking. Did I say? I meant fucking. We're fucking. I keep saying I can't stop saying it. If you're trying to make if you're trying to do it, you're trying to get it done. And by it I mean fucking. Let's just talk around it. You know? And you need a little something. Blue Chew can give you that something. And, you know, without having awkward conversations or having to wait in line at a pharmacy, all this stuff just ships right to your door in a discreet package. Because this is an online prescription service. Here's the process. You sign up at bluechew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And it's all done online. And these are licensed medical providers that are working with you to find just the right ingredient and strength for your specific situation, for your specific prescription. And they're chewable. So, you know like swallowing pills, like, hey, chewable. They're chewable. And they're made in the United States of America. They prepare and ship direct, and it can be cheaper than a pharmacy. So if you could benefit from a little something extra when it's time to get it on, does get it on give the connotation? I should just say, if you're trying to fuck, and you need a little something extra, confidence-wise, to make that happen for you the way you need it to happen, then visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. There's also a special deal. You can try Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code BOMBCAST at checkout. You just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com. The promo code is BOMBCAST to receive your first month for free. Thanks, Blue Chew. That's BLUECHEW.com. That promo code, it's BOMBCAST. All right, we're back, Jan. World Flipper. Let's talk about it.
World Flipper.
Flip my world.
Oh, man. Jeff, I was thinking after we recorded that quick look that I'd be free from the confines of World Flipper. For the folks that don't know, World Flipper is the newest hotness gotcha of the season, let's say. And the game hook to it this time is pinball. With quotation marks.
What? I'm sorry, my alarm went off. Did someone say?
Yeah, we
the
covered a
P-word?
pinball game while you were gone.
Yeah, we couldn't wait.
Cool.
Yeah, but this one is on your
guys.
phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
For phones.
it is?
Yeah.
And it has anime people in it.
Mhm.
So this,
Look at all
on
these different
paper,
ways anime is trying to get to me.
see, on paper, this
hockey
is a game
anime.
for everyone here, right? It has all the
Okay.
things that can appeal to you. And the gambling aspect, man, it's totally scratching that itch. But Jeff and I, we talked about on the quick look, where it falls short is the actual pinball element. You combine you
How'd
play
you know? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
you hit as soon as you like tap the screen, you move both. What are they? Flippers, paddles?
Yep. Yes, they're flippers.
yeah. I
Flippers.
can help you out. Just call on me. Just call on me.
It's like golf. I don't know what the terms are. The flippy thingies.
the green part. What? Green?
You combine them at the you hit them at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't have individual buttons for the flippers, which
Yeah.
for me was like the first thing. I was like, well, is there an option in there that can make it feel more real? And it doesn't have that, but it doesn't need it, which is
Yeah.
maybe the larger problem.
Yeah, because the screens aren't that complicated. You know, you're using the pinball element to hit a bunch of enemies, and you get like a little dash with your party of 3 because it's an RPG also at the same time where you have a party of 3. But instead of having like 3 multi-balls, which in my head would make sense, your 3 party members are lined up after each other, and they're just like bouncing around together. And you're just knocking the enemies. Sometimes there's a couple environmental hazards or bumpers that you get into depending on the screens, but for the most part you're just like flipping your party at the enemies and then kind of trying to combo from there. Each character has a different skill that is very, very flashy. It's a very pretty game for what it's worth, though. And with each character of your main 3, you can get a second set of support characters that will modify your skills. So say you have, like the example the game shows, you have a dragon. The dragon normally just shoots a vertical beam across the screen, but if you pair him up with a different character, that vertical beam will travel across the screen sideways. And, you know, some of the neat mixings of the skills can get fun, but the problem that this runs into is because it's a gacha game, there's a poop ton of characters that I have because I've done a bunch of roles that I will never touch, that I'll never see what they do. And
yeah, if you're pulling like a 1-star, like a 3-star version of a character, you're like, well, I already have enough 5-star characters to never even like
Who's
really
got time
think
for
about
that?
this. And also, like, it never, for me, it never felt like the game was complex enough to require any real strategy. Like, you do get those abilities, and you swipe on the screen to activate the abilities when the time is right, and you tap the screen to make them dash at the nearest enemy. Well, I don't know. For me, it always is going to come back to, like, I want it to be more pinball. I want there to be more lanes and targets and shots, and maybe if I could even lean the phone around to tilt the ball, or, you know, just
that'd be cool.
yeah.
something.
I will say, like, where we were at in the quick look, that was like the second world, and at that point the maps were still pretty simple. I'm in world 5 now.
Shit. So I kept playing it as well and got to like the middle of world 2 before I finally kind of
but like
fallen off it.
It follows this. My problem is, like, it follows the same pattern of, like, first screen, defeat X amount of enemies. Second screen is always a boss, and it is still that way all the way until World 5. But what I can add or add to the conversation is that sometimes the screens will get a little bit more complicated, so you can't just put it on automatic, because you could just run this game on automatic and have it be kind of an idle pinball game.
Yeah, it'll flip for you if you turn on auto mode.
Yeah. But, you know, in those later levels, the AI was not lining up the shots properly. They weren't getting the extra items or bonuses that are scattered throughout the map. They weren't playing the best. So I'd have to turn off auto and start playing. And, you know, some of those later maps were a little bit more fun because they had more pinball elements in them. But that was only a couple compared to the huge flood of kind of rinse and repeat levels that are just, you know, here's all these enemies. Oh, you took care of all the obstacles. Now all those are gone. Just take care of the enemies.
Yeah.
And, you know, because it's a gacha style game, there are like 12 different currencies going on. Thankfully, the game, you know, because it's new, they do give you enough in-game currency to pull at least 30 times.
Wow.
And depending on your characters, each individual character has their own skill tree or their mana board that as you level them up, you also have to leveling up your mana board, which opens up different skills, but which you should do.
Pinball.
Yeah, pinball stuff. But what you should do, even if you have like an obscene amount of characters that you're never going to use, open up their mana board, read their first chapter, because that's a guaranteed free 15 pearls or whatever the heck they call it.
Oh God,
it's beads, please.
Beads. See, but the confusing thing with the beads is like when you go to the place where you like pull for new characters, there's one that says like, oh, this one's only 50. It resets every day at 12. But those are the paid beads that the game doesn't show
Can't
you.
Use free beads.
You can't use the free
Can't
beads.
use free beads for the paid beads pull.
Fucking word you're
it's like
saying,
a shadow
Dan.
currency.
Yeah, and then
Pinball.
Pinball.
Pinball stuff.
Yeah, just
normal
like
things.
pinball.
Yeah. The Mandalorian, the
Why'd they do this to
F-14
pinball?
Tomcat. It's like like a pinball machine. Superman, the
Why'd they
big
do that?
70s wide body, pinball
Adam's
stuff.
family.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
like the specific levels, they don't last that long. It's just like a minute 30 tops. Sometimes if it's a boss, it'll last long just because like, I don't know, you just can't line up the shots properly. But
Or they've got a zillion hit points and it just takes forever.
Yeah.
Which is even,
and then I don't know, it's just like the pinball element. Again, we said it a bunch on the quick look.
Easy?
I just wish it's too easy. Maybe like, I don't know.
And it doesn't matter. It does not feel like a game of. Stop me if you heard this. This mobile gambling game doesn't feel like a game of skill.
which sucks because like you have Genshin Impact, which does run on phones pretty well, and that's a full ass game, right? Or you have something like an Arc Knights, which is like in a decent tower defense. Here it's like you could just set it to auto and be fine and just like get your currency so you can pull for more characters.
Get your beads.
That being said, I'm still fucking playing this game and I hate it.
Oh, Jan.
I haven't spent more money on it since the quick look, okay?
This game is actively trying to destroy pinball, and you're supporting the shit out of it.
War on pinball.
Warren Pinball.
Yeah. I just as a quick aside, I continually forget to cancel my Apple Arcade subscription.
I gotta check.
And
I definitely pay for that.
they put out a Zookeeper game, and I love that Match 3 Zookeeper game that's been kicking around on different platforms for years and years. But I don't think Zookeeper World is very good. But that's not why I'm here to talk about. The Zen Pinball people put out Zen Pinball Party as a part of Apple Arcade, and it includes some of their own tables, and then some licensed tables that are not real tables. Like there's a My Little Pony table in there and stuff like that. But then also they acquired the Williams license, which is why Farsight can't do the good Pinball Arcade updates anymore, or they can't even sell their old Pinball Arcade. Was great. I don't think Zen Pinball is as good as that was, but now they've got the license. So anyway, long story short, Attack from Mars and The Getaway and Medieval Madness and like Theater of Magic are a part of this. So if you want to play actual pinball on your phone,
that's quite the foursome right there.
Yeah,
so
those are some solid tables.
I almost bought a Getaway.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Why didn't you?
I mean, I honestly, room is a problem at the moment.
Like, what
I've
do you
got
have that's better than The Getaway?
I think Funhouse is a better game than The Getaway.
Okay, all right.
But The Getaway good.
I don't think I agree, but all right. Okay.
The Getaway is good. Getaway is a lot cheaper than what this Funhouse would probably go for. It's also not mine, this Funhouse. But yeah, I mean, and that's a game that I feel like you can find in pretty decent shape for under $3K.
I wonder if that's about to go up. So there's the Pinball Hall of Fame had their big auction.
Oh my god! I'm glad you're bringing this up.
I was following this from the outside looking in, and it sounds like that a lot of the prices that some of those tables went for are fucking insane.
No, they're juicing it here too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything's getting bad. Everything's getting bad.
Oh, I think the Addams Family like gold edition sold for $22K or something.
Like, what the fuck? Come on.
I mean, that there are only a very finite amount of those gold games, but like, come on, that is just astronomically. I mean, look, that's what happens, right? Like all this commercial attention, the 2 weeks leading up to this auction, I mean, forget it. Like, how I heard about it 11 times from people. Like, people are just like, you see this? You see this? They're doing that. Like, oh, okay. So once that happens, there's this, everything's getting juiced. But yeah, I mean, that was not the place to buy a pinball machine, everybody. I hope you didn't do that. That was not it. It was probably in great condition, but that's about it.
I wonder if I had hung on to my beat up Earthshaker, what it would be worth today.
It depends, because that's a great game.
Yeah, it is. But like, I traded it for a Smash TV with a Total Carnage board in it, and like a multi-JAMA button that lets you toggle between the two, and those are two of my favorite games. And so, like,
that's good.
From a like heart perspective, I'm way happier owning that than I was.
I got you.
The tattoo parlor Earthshaker that had all the warped plastics from sitting in the window too long.
Oh,
still functional, but like, man, it was definitely like the left plastic had warped to a point where like one of the posts had broken off the play field and all this other stuff.
That's easy to fix.
Yeah, well, I remember like, at one point I like just kind of quietly asked Ed Boon, because like he, works for the company that was the pinball company, all this other stuff. Like, hey, do you guys have like a warehouse somewhere of like new old stock parts or anything like that? He's like, no, I'm pretty sure they sold all that stuff when they sold off all the rights and everything else. But like, there's probably someone, I think now someone has made like new versions or like replacement parts for that stuff. Like, because obviously but like when I got the machine, I think that stuff didn't exist yet.
Yeah, so thankfully there's been a storm of third party, pinball accessory, makers where like you can pretty much get what you need, or at least MacGyver it in a way that is functional, and the beauty of it. And they just announced a brand new game today. Stern did. They're doing a Godzilla game.
Ooh.
Okay.
Cool. And
what type of Godzilla?
Say,
Classic
are the balls eggs that like you have to like shoot? Is there like
is Matthew Broderick in this game?
No, it's the Bryan Cranston one.
Yeah.
No.
Is Jamiroquai?
Yes, all your favorites are here and well represented.
There should be a nest that you have to shoot the balls into, and then a good animation of a egg hatching, or there should be something like that, right?
I bet the roar sounds really good coming out of a pinball machine.
I hadn't heard it. The person who designed this game, his name is Keith Elwin. He's become like the guy, the sort of like main designer that you want, and CERN has him tied up, and he makes every 2 or 3 games, it's his game. And I just looking at the sort of the play field and all the toys, like, I'm not super in love with the theme because I'm just not that much into Godzilla in any way, shape, or form.
I get it.
But like it's dope.
Don't let Godzilla hear it.
Dope. Yeah, I didn't
Is
know
Ken
that about
Watanabe
you,
on the pinball board? Does he say let them fight?
No, it's
what about Godzuki?
Like they just licensed out like Godzilla. Like there's no movie attachment. It's just like big dragon dinosaur. Like that's it. And then there's like alien stuff going on.
Get one and mod it into a Gamera table.
Yeah. But it looks dope.
Cool. That's awesome. What were we talking about? Video games. Lost in Random came out. This is EA, one of those EA originals, right? This is the dice, the one with dice, right? Not
the one
dice,
with the dice,
studio,
with the die, the dice.
Several dice.
What if Alice in Wonderland had more dice? Is
that kind of
this one?
That's an accurate theme. There's going to be obvious Nightmare Before Christmas vibes in this. It reminds me of like a movie, like a stop motion animation, Coraline or Paranorman or something like that. It's creepy like that, and like Nightmare in its aesthetics. But it's a light character action game fused with a deck building mechanic, which is really interesting so far. But to back up a little bit, you play as a little girl. Your sister becomes of age. She becomes like 12. And when children become 12 years old, this evil queen comes down and has them roll a dice, and whatever number they land on, that's what world you go to. And her number actually ended up being a 6. So the queen takes her up to Sixerland, which is, the high and mighty, lordly
Philadelphia.
land. Yep. But the sister, her name is Even, is not cool with this. So she goes to go rescue her sister, wants her to come back home. But so it's her adventure. But along the way, she finds this animated dice with the legs and arms and an eye for the one pip.
Is it a fleshy eye?
And he helps you. What's that?
Is it a fleshy eye?
It's kind of fleshy. I think it makes noise when it.
Is it a snake eye?
It is.
Oh.
They're called snake eyes sometimes.
Okay.
The oneers that are way down on the totem pole. Anyway, so combat is really strange. It's really hard to explain, but I will try. The initial stage of battle is you with your slingshot. That's the only weapon that you have. It doesn't do any damage, but it'll knock crystals off of your enemies. You collect those crystals to get essentially cards. And then once you have like a full deck or full hand, I should say, you can throw your dice friend in like this, slow motion, like everything kind of stops. You throw your die friend, and then whatever, number you get, that's how many action points you have. And then you can cast one of those cards, depending on, the action points you have. So like a sword or something like that would be just one action point. So you cast that, and then you get a sword for a short amount of time, and that will actually do damage to your enemies. But there's also things like, there's defensive spells, there's area of effect spells, there's chance cards as well that'll give you like extra AP. It's been really fun. I haven't gotten a full deck yet. A full deck is, I guess, like 15 cards. So I'm just dealing with like a handful, coin a phrase, I guess, of cards, probably about 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I haven't gotten to the customization part of it, but I've been able to buy a few cards. So they have a shop in there that allows you to buy whatever you want, essentially, based on currency that you get from winning battles. It's fucking neat. Like, I love the aesthetic. My son really likes the aesthetic. He really wants to watch more of this game. He's really, really into it. I am as well. It's been really interesting. Like, combat is very light. We're not talking air juggles or anything complicated like that. It's very straighthtforward, but
a Jason game in different ways.
Yeah, in different ways. It's very fun. I like it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That at least looked striking when they showed
Totally.
it back at their event. It was like, okay, this is like kind of crazy. It's good.
It's like out on everything too, which is pretty crazy because it's like a small Swedish developer. It's like 20 people or something. So
yeah.
It's pretty, like, it has that feel. I haven't played nearly as much as Jason, but it has that feel of like it's not a big budget platform or anything. Like even Psychonauts, actually, having played that recently, Psychonauts 2 feels like a much more bigger budget game than this one does.
Right.
But it's neat. I love the art direction in it. It's pretty slick and seems to be
everything looks
to be digging
like
it.
stop motion. Like it looks like it's like running maybe 24 frames per second, which is like traditional stop motion animation. And like her hair looks like it's carved out of wood. It's
cool.
It's textured really well. It's very cool.
Awesome. And lastly, Tales of Arise.
Oh,
Tales
boy.
franchise back at
boy.
you.
Yes. Quick look now live up on the site and YouTube. Jason and I took a look at this, and yeah, it's another entry into the Tales series. I made this joke on the quick look, but is not a Trials or Ease game. I thought it was a Trails game, but it's another entry into the Tales series. It's an action RPG where, get me if you've heard this before, you play as a dude that has lost his memory and wears an iron mask, and his name is Iron Mask. But it's very similar to the combat in previous Tales games where you have a party that you can switch between. You have a couple action points that control your arts or your skills that you can use, and those aren't a cooldown after you pop them off. Some skills take more than that. But a neat thing that this game does is I believe it's like the break system, where say you have a party member and like they have their own independent meter that's like slowly filling up as the combat is going, and you need like a hot assist in the moment to take down a specific enemy. You hit their specific direction on the D-pad, and then they'll pop out of whatever they're doing and do like something that kind of feels like an assist attack in a fighting game. So say you're punching a dude with a big shield. I need my boy Law out on the field because Law punches people really well. And it was like,
well, I don't give no fuck about shields.
Yeah. I'm not going to explain why my fists can take down a shield, but I'm going to do it. So he can do that. If you come across enemies that are casting a spell, one of your characters can cancel out that spell completely, which is pretty neat. And the cool thing is, like, all the different characters, they all play fairly differently. Like, you have 2 ranged characters, and one just has a straight up space rifle, and then the other one is just
comes
like,
out of nowhere.
All right,
amazing.
Yeah. And the other one is like a spellcaster, where she takes a lot of time to cast the spell, but winds up dishing out a bunch of damage. Your 2 melee dudes that you have, one is a sword dude, and then the other is Law, who just punches people, which is tight. And a neat thing is, once you're combining your skills onto a specific enemy, they have their own gauge that is building up, that if you fill that up all the way, you can unleash a one-hit kill attack, which teams up with your whole group or you and another member of your group. It's a very flashy game, and in any action RPG with multiple party members, I love what this does, in that everyone is just yelling all the time. Like, everyone is yelling their attacks. It's like, hey, I got your back! And then they'll use an item. It's like, I got an item! You need some healing! And then someone will be like, leave it to me! And it's great. But at the same time, it's just like, guys, just quiet down. We're just fighting one guy. Just chill out.
Let me handle this.
Not that serious. It's one wolf. Come on.
Yeah.
Do you how do you feel about does it employ the linear motion battle system?
Yes, it does employ the linear motion battle system, which I think is just, if I recall correctly,
known as the limb system to some.
The limb system, which is the dynamic switching and like the where the action points, instead of like a mana bar or a skill point bar. The interesting part of this game, though, that I've had that's kind of turned me off of it, is I like the moment-to-moment battles, and some of the mid bosses you'll encounter, like a named enemy that isn't like the chapter end boss. But the chapter bosses, I've not had a lot of fun with, because they have so much dang hit points, and once you figure out like the specific combo or the sequence to take advantage and exploit the boss, it just takes a long time because they have so much dang HP.
Sure.
And
same problem World Filter has, basically.
Yeah.
The one boss that I fought, the first like Lord or whatever, there were several different phases of that fight though, which kept it rotating and interesting, even though he had a shit ton of HP.
Yeah. And like the neat thing is the neat thing is, say you don't like playing as the main dude, you don't like the generic swordsman dude, you can pop into a battle and set your preference of like, I only want to be this like the pretty lady that shoots the space rifle, and you can kind of just main that way.
Yes.
And as you progress through the game, you're unlocking a bunch of different arts or skills, and you can swap them dynamically while you're playing in actual combat. The other neat thing is, so you have like 3 face buttons you can use for your arts. But if you're letting the AI control the different characters, they have access to everything. So you can just load up.
Yeah, because you've got this whole pool of arts that you can choose from. But if it's just you only get to choose from 3, which is kind of a bummer. But everybody else,
So you can have like your spellcaster just like shooting off tornadoes, water tornadoes, beams of light, all this fun stuff. The story is a little heavy-handed. It's a little cheesy. I do enjoy more of the like character to character beats because of course there's somewhat of a social system between you and your party. The main two really have a good will they won't they type of relationship that I kind of like.
Yeah.
Because it's set in like a medieval
They're
RPG.
gonna smooch.
Yeah, I hope so.
Through that iron mask? I don't know.
So his
Well,
mask broke.
the mask comes. Yeah, the mask broke,
Yep.
and now he's got like half a face. You know what I like about this game is before the mask broke, they actually explained. Well, no, they addressed the fact that like, how do you see through that thing? Because there's no like eye slits. How do you eat through that? And he's just like,
Really hard.
It's really hard. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's fucking over. All right,
That's all it takes. Yeah.
Let's go.
The other amazing thing.
He's like, where do you keep that gun? And she's like, what do you mean? Where's the gun come from? She's like, oh, space folding or something like that. That's fucking ridiculous.
The great
But
part,
they address
though,
it.
The additional great part of this though is like every time you start the game, they'll flash up like, hey, this game uses autosaves. Cool. All right. It'll launch into a cinematic that is really well done, and I really like it. And it spoils the first 2 chapters of the game, kind of. But after you beat that first boss, it plays it again. Damn it!
Yeah, it does. It's like a late title card. It's amazing.
Like,
Jeez.
oh man, I love this game.
Nice.
But I'm really digging the combat. I really want to see where they go when they introduce more characters because, I'm having fun with the 4 that I have now, but I want to see the other puzzle pieces in play. The story, there's some kind of contest that they keep hinting on, like a beauty pageant, I think, kind of. But we're also taking down like the ruling class at the same time.
Yeah, we are.
Of course. Yeah. You can do both. Get you an RPG party that can do both is what I always say. Great. I wrote it down. I don't even know that so they ran some Call of Duty Vanguard beta stuff over the last weekend, and they're going to run it again this weekend. I messed with that for a little bit. I guess the one thing I'll say about it is that they have this thing where they list the pacing of a match. They announced this, but it was like seeing it in action, I think, kind of drove home what it meant. Where they have tactical pacing, assault pacing, and blitz pacing for their multiplayer matches. And basically,
it's like a stat.
It's like a mode. It's like you'll play like, okay, here's your map. You're playing team deathmatch on this map, and you're playing blitz pacing. And what that means is a higher player count. Generally, I think that might be the only actual difference. But like tactical pacing is 6v6.
Gotcha.
And on a bigger map, that means you're going to see fewer people. But like blitz pacing is like, basically, I think their goal is like, fuck it, let's turn every map into shipment. By just having way more players on this map, so you're constantly shooting. I think the thing they always run into with these games is like people want to play on the small map because they just want to level up fast. And so Modern Warfare has perpetually, especially now that it's not even the current game, they just have a playlist that just rotates through the 2 smallest maps, and people just play that and try to crank through levels and battle pass whatever's. So I think the idea here is to like maybe kind of break that in a sense and just be like, well, we can kind of do that on any map now if we just have higher player spawns. I don't know if it'll work out that way. It was just an interesting, a pretty interesting change to what otherwise feels like they made another Call of Duty game. With all the weapon blueprints and all the other stuff. So it's like that's even the thing. Like if you get to level 26 or whatever by the end of the beta, we'll give you a bonus weapon or something. So like it very much feels in line with the last couple of years of Call of Duty. So that's that. Let's talk about some news. How about that?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Wolverine.
Snick,
Schnick
bub.
and schnick.
Madripoor. Wolverine coming to your PlayStation 5 as in sometime in the next 5 years.
Yeah, they actually said 2023, didn't they?
Oh, that was
I
the
think
first
that's
time
Spider-Man.
That was Spider-Man.
That was Spider-Man.
Oh,
so
that's
Wolverine,
Spider-Man.
they
That
didn't
was-
even get a date for. So
Yeah,
Right.
Wolverine
Oh,
was
shit.
just like it's just a hand doing
Way
this.
out there.
yeah,
But that was the first 2023 I've ever seen on a screen. I feel
Yep.
like
yeah,
It was,
I think so too. And it was
Something.
harsh to see. There's something
Oh,
about
wow,
it. That was like,
that's probably going to be a year, I guess. One of these years.
yeah. Eventually they'll
Maybe.
get to that. Sony ran, about, let's call it 40-ish minutes of trailers, and announced a handful of new games. Spider-Man 2, a sequel to Spider-Man. They showed that. It's going to have Venom in it. So Insomniac
Yep.
is very busy.
Mm.
Some third-party stuff there, like Forspoken, which looked pretty rad.
Yeah.
Showed some additional stuff on that I think the kind of fish out of water. I got teleported to this crazy land, and now I'm fighting dragons with magic. Like, I think that trailer at least was fun.
Striking
Kai.
animations in that too.
Yeah.
Like her,
Yeah.
the flowing of her cape. Oh my god, that was cool.
Yeah. Project Eve from Shift Up stood out as kind of a character
Bayonetta.
action.
Bayonetta.
Yeah. Sort of
Bit like
thing.
Nier, kind of.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. That
Sorry,
type of thing,
Neo,
yeah.
not Nier.
Yeah. And I guess the story on that, so I believe it's a Chinese studio. Am I
Yeah,
right
it
on
is.
that? From the fallout from the reaction to that trailer, the head of that studio bought PS5s for the entire dev team. So like they had at their desks the next morning, everybody had a PS5. So exciting for them.
That's crazy.
Wow, you can get PS5s there, huh?
Yeah, I guess
wow.
so. I mean, if you're making a PlayStation 5 game, you probably have a hookup, maybe your account manager or somebody can be like, oh yeah, we know a guy. You know,
They're
John
Korean
Sony.
as well. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, they are Korean. Okay, sorry. I apologize. Let's see here. They're remaking KOTOR.
Mm.
BioWare.
PS5 and PC. Well, yeah. Or at least that's the announcement is PS5 and PC. They confirmed later on that was kind of a launch window or a console exclusive. So presumably in a year or so after that, we'll see an Xbox version of that. That game has been. I feel like that KOTOR remake has been kicking around in relatively open secret form for some time now, and I to the point where I had forgotten about it until that trailer started, and I was like, "Oh, right, this."
That's Aspire out of Austin.
Yeah, Aspire. Yeah.
Cool.
They are going to bring Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy to the PC, as well as the PlayStation 5. GTA 5 got delayed to March. Even a game that's been out for like a decade can still somehow find a way to get delayed in this day and age.
Life finds a way. Life finds a way.
They announced a Radiohead thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
a virtual exhibit of stuff because they have some kind of new package coming out that's like a bunch of session recordings from 2 of their albums.
Were they scary albums?
I
Kid
don't
A
know.
and Amnesia, I think, right? So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Um,
good mid. I feel like it's middle Radiohead. It's not the early stuff. It's not the.
They did not base an
latest
entire
stuff.
game around the song "Creep," but
As we feared.
yeah. But yeah, no, there's some kind of that. I feel like that is slightly ambiguous, but it is some kind of virtual exhibit that will go along with these kind of larger releases that they're doing of the music. Showed some Gran Turismo 7. Showed some God of War Ragnarok, which I guess that's them confirming that name finally, right?
That was the
They
first
just
time they
talked about it as
Oh, it was.
that was kind of one of those ones that kind of knew that was the name of it, I guess, even if they hadn't said it. It was a decent showing of games that are not coming out soon. It's like I would very much like to see Insomniac take a crack at a Wolverine game. I think that's cool as hell.
It's made for
But like
video
I'm not
games.
gonna I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
totally.
yeah I'm not gonna think about that game until there's a game.
Can't wait
it's
to
like
upgrade his skeleton.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, do I get adamantium chips and then apply them? Do I have to like go?
You eat them.
You get
Canada?
one more blade. It just comes. It's the side.
One blade
One.
at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
40
Okay.
blades.
Yeah. Wolverine is a good video game character. Like I said, I think when we were watching the stream, he's got built-in auto healing. He's right there. He's perfect.
Yeah,
That's it.
good point.
So
That's it.
Put him on Call of Duty.
Make him short.
Yeah.
Make him short.
I mean, we're not. We
awesome.
can't be that far from a Wolverine skin in a Call of Duty game. Like that is not.
Or Fortnite, right?
I feel
Sure,
like the
I mean-
Activision window for Marvel games was the Tony Hawk, was the Wolverine and Tony Hawk. We already got that.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so we've I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately.
Rip.
But yeah. Let's see other Sony stuff. That firmware is hitting tomorrow. They've had that beta running for a while. That's going to hit wide, and that will add support for an internal SSD, as well as 3D audio out of your TV speakers, a redesigned trophy view, a handful of things. I've been running that beta firmware. Actually, today is during the break.
Ooh.
Breaking news.
Whoa.
Western Digital
Whoa.
sent me a drive, so
Oh,
I'm going
nice.
to pop this into a PlayStation 5 and see what it do.
I got mine right down there.
1 terabyte with a heat sink on it, so I'm going to try popping
God-
this into
God
PlayStation
bless.
5 and see what it does.
Looking
Nice.
forward to watching a lot of other people do it before I attempt it.
Yeah.
The
just let
video's made it
everyone
look
else
pretty
do it.
easy.
Yeah.
But I think the part that was the ambiguous part was Sony kind of not really being forthcoming with details about which drives do and don't work. It was more like a
Oh, yeah.
spec of like, they've got to be this size. They really should have a heat sink, and they need to fit in a whatever 10 millimeter, whatever the sizing stuff. And some drives are in situations where they technically fit, but the heatsink that comes with them is too big. So if you replace that heatsink with a different heatsink, then it will work. Or, there's just I think that stuff will solidify over time, especially now that more people are going to get their hands on the firmware, and some of them will probably be heartbroken in some way, shape, or form. But like that list will formulate, right? Like I think Digital Foundry already put out a list of drives they've tested with the beta firmware and saying like, hey, here's the firmware you need, here's the firmware the heatsink you need, rather. But yeah, I don't know. That seems like a short-term problem right now, where there's going to be a lot of confusion about what does and doesn't work, and all that sort of stuff. Which I think it makes a lot more sense now when the PlayStation 5 launched, and they were basically like, don't buy a drive right now. It's not active in the
Yeah.
firmware, but also don't just think you can walk out and buy a drive, because we haven't even said anything. Like no one's even working on this firmware yet, or whatever it was, But it feels like they signaled like don't just go out and buy a hard drive right now. Wait, and so tomorrow I guess is the day for that. But again, like Sony was so ambiguous around the beta as to what would and wouldn't work. That
There's a few other things in there that look all right in that firmware. I think some of the customization stuff. I have not played around with that too much, and I'm pretty sure I have the beta.
because I know you can track. There's like a trophy tracker in there where you can set like some trophies that you want to keep track of, and it'll display it in a different way. But like the redesigned game base didn't really do anything for me. But
I think that's kind of busy, and it
Yes.
seemed like there might be a way to make it less busy.
Yes.
According to your preference, which I think is important, and also even just like quality of life, mini things like moving an icon around and being like, okay, I want this to feel how I want it to feel. It's just a thing.
I
that
just
should
want to be able
kinda
to hold
there.
down the power button and have the power
Oh.
menu show up like you
Nope,
could on a
that's almost-
PlayStation Damn 4.
It's almost as hard as changing your PSN name. That is a thing that
Why are we?
will need, the jaws of life
Come
to
on.
enact. I
Come
don't know.
on. Come on. Jeff Bakalar, develop this firmware. What are you doing?
I'm curious about the 3D audio though, with the TV speaker thing. Like, I haven't really wrapped my head around like what that is going to do for most people.
So what they're doing is they have a process that you turn on the microphone on the controller,
right.
and
Whoa.
it will play audio out of the TV, figure out where you're sitting, and then try to alter the audio coming out of your speakers to kind of simulate that 3D audio. Simulated 3D audio is not especially new.
No, but I think
soundbars
that
and stuff have
process.
been-
Totally. And and that's how they all work. Like they have some sort of like little microphone that you like place in the middle, and that's always been the process. I wonder how good is that microphone in the DualSense to kind of calibrate that? Sure, let's give it a go.
I tried it very briefly with Call of Duty. I went through the calibration process for it, and I didn't notice anything. I don't know. And I put headphones on to play Deathloop because I was like, I actually care about the audio, so I should probably just put on headphones.
That's definitely a good headphones game.
Yeah.
The footsteps alone feels like it's worth hearing that sort of stuff. So, let's see. Last bit of Sony news here. Little Big Planet was in the news a while back. They had to take some servers offline because they were under attack from hackers who were posting a bunch of really nasty shit. And so those servers came offline for a good long time, to the point where I think a lot of people in that community were like, these are never coming back up. Sony has confirmed on Twitter, these are never coming back up. They have shut down the online for Little Big Planet 1, 2, and 3 on the PlayStation 3, as well as Little Big Planet for the Vita.
Man.
That's wild.
But Little Big Planet 3 for the Little Big Planet for the PlayStation 4 is now back online, which the community around those games, what was there, obviously they're pretty old games, was not real thrilled about this, even saying, I feel like a lot of the response I saw was not only like, oh my God, you're taking down these games that have all my levels and all these things I created for years and years and years. The other part of it was like, the PlayStation 4 Little Big Planet is buggy as shit, and that's the one you're putting back online. And they were unhappy on that front as well. So that's
I think all the LBP 1, 2, 3 levels on PS3 are playable on the PS4 still. So
they
the
move
levels
forward.
at least aren't gone. Yeah.
But they did say 10
you're-
million plus levels were coming, were available on that game. So but it sounds like people were not necessarily happy with that PS4 version of that game to begin with.
Right.
So that's kind of a larger problem. I mean, while it would be nice to think like, God, I wish that someone would go back and just do whatever server re-architecting they need to do to fix those old games and patch the clients and stuff so that it works. Those games are so old. Those PlayStation 3, we're talking about PlayStation 3 games and stuff. Like I get why they would do that, but man, that's shitty. Especially for a game that is like purely driven with user-generated content and with like zero warning, or very little warning, because they're just like, well, these games are under attack. We have to take these servers down, and then to be like, they're not coming back. Like, you're not going to get a chance to go back in and send it off right or anything like that. It's like we're done. It's harsh. It's harsh. Do you ever make anything in a Little Big Planet? You ever anyone get in there and try and make anything? I tried
real early. Yeah.
Yeah, always very bad at it.
Yeah.
Play everyone else's
And
stuff.
that was
Yeah.
that was such a thing that I wanted to be involved in, especially when that first came out, where it was just like all that stuff was very much my shit. And I don't know. I think a lot of it was just like, this is more work than I wanted.
Yep.
There's too much logic. I don't want to learn this. But obviously all the community stuff thing is that's been the best part for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up falling with Dreams also. It was like, man, this is an incredible set of tools that they have built, and they've really made it easy to use and easy to sculpt with the PlayStation Move controllers. And then at some point I was like, I'm not going to keep a set of PlayStation Move controllers around. Like, what? No, it's not going to, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to make music mostly in that thing, because I before it came out, I got a good demo of the music tools, and I was like, this is actually kind of cool. You could do some neat stuff with this. You can do a ton of neat stuff with every portion of that, as far as I can tell. But at some point, I was like, is this the thing I'm gonna, just no. It's just not gonna happen for me. But yeah, same deal. It's nice to check back in on and that sort of stuff every 6 months or so, and see how it goes. What else is going on? GeForce Now. This is a situation, I guess I would say.
What'd they do? What did NVIDIA do?
So remember when GeForce Now first came along, you could run anything on it because NVIDIA was like, fuck it, we don't care. And then later they restricted it because a lot of studios were like, you can't use our game in this way legally. Like, we don't do this. And so they pulled way back on what was available on GeForce Now. I guess my understanding of this is that someone took a client from the Wild West days and hacked it to work on current GeForce Now. And when they loaded it up, it basically dumped every single app that was in the GeForce Now database out for them to see, which included a lot of products that, as far as we know, don't exist, or a bunch of Microsoft products that were listed by code name, which have since been corroborated by places like WindowsCentral.com and other places that have been like, oh, that's the code name for this. That's definitely like Oxide is this. We know what this is, or we know this is a studio doing this. And so portions of this list seem to line up with real life. But then there's a bunch of wild shit on it where you're like, well, wait a minute. If that stuff real, what about the rest of this? Because it says Titanfall 3 on there.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it says Tekken 8 on there. And it says Injustice 3 on there. It has 2 entries for Mortal Kombat. One that says Mortal Kombat Next Gen and one that says Mortal Kombat 12. It has Returnal on it. It has Gears 6 on it. It has God of War on it. It has a Final Fantasy 9 remake, a Chrono Cross remake.
What?
There's a whole or a remaster rather. But then also Photoshop and Dolphin, the fucking GameCube and Wii emulator, and like shit. Excel and all this other stuff, and a bunch of mobile games are listed on there.
This also
and
has
some VR things are listed on there.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is listed on there, which I left off the list because I don't want to get your hopes up.
Thank you.
And so it is this ridiculous list of like leaked products, and then a bunch of like code name stuff, and like XCOM 3 is on there, and a bunch of stuff that's not a game, that's clearly some dev's test bed, and a bunch of DLSS stuff, which I don't know if they're training AIs on this cloud network to train the models for the DLSS stuff to work, or I don't know how that works. But it's this insane list that you just look at and go, what the hell? So someone has pared it down, because a lot of these games existed and were on Steam. So they pared it down and said, here's a version of the list with all the games that are definitely on Steam and are not interesting, like removed. And so that version of the list is the craziest one, because you're like, okay, someone, an NVIDIA GeForce Now dev, is using the GeForce Now cloud architecture to play Dolphin, the GameCube emulator. Is presumably what this all means. But I don't know where to come down on this list, because I know every time I fuck around in a test database that is not meant for public viewing, I put fake game names in it all goddamn day long. Mm-hmm. And so who's to say that someone didn't just, that some dev, at NVIDIA or some other studio, I don't know how they use, how all the different uses for the GeForce Now infrastructure. Some devs could be using it for development to pass builds back and forth, for all we know. But I know sure as shit I would do things like type in Mortal Kombat 12 into a thing just as a goof, and then when I click it, it loads up my email in the cloud, or like here's a cloud instance that is going to load up and just be a web browser, or whatever I'm actually working on in my day job. I find it by clicking Mortal Kombat 12 or Titanfall 3 or Tekken 8 or something, and then someone else on the team sees it and laughs. So it's like hard to trace 100% of this back to these games all exist. But those Microsoft code names were on there.
And they were
and those have been corroborated.
I want to believe. Titanfall 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 Mortal Kombats.
2 Mortal Kombats. Yeah.
That's an Injustice.
And an Injustice.
Wow.
So yeah, they're like multiple projects from Respawn. Like there's something in there that just says R5 that's attributed to Respawn. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff on this list. NVIDIA did give a statement saying that the list is
Sorry.
speculative and goes on to say it's only used for internal tracking and testing. So, which of course they would say that. And, we're kind of left where some of this will certainly happen. I mean, if you just take a video game and increase the number on it, odds are that's going to happen sooner or later. Like, will there be a Mortal Kombat 12? Fuck, man. Who can say?
On a long enough timeline, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So, like, you wait long enough. Like, Gears 6. What do you think, guys? Think they're going to make another Gears of War? Shit, I don't know.
No.
But some of these are much weirder, and when you take it against like having some knowledge of what some studios are working on or not working on, you start to look at it and go like, maybe not all of this might not all be real, but some of it probably is. And there's differences where like, some of them are attached to platforms. So like God of War has Steam listed as a platform, Returnal does not.
Weird.
And so it's it's just I don't know. It could be something as easy as like the devs at Housemarque were running that game on PC as they were developing it and were testing things out in the cloud. Who can say? Or maybe they're porting it to PC. Who can say? That whole list. Who can say?
Who's this?
But it's fascinating either way. They're cutting the price of the Switch in the UK and Europe. Welcome to America, Danny. They're cutting the Switch price somewhere else. You screwed up.
It's supposed to be cheaper here. It's people go home with trunks full of sneakers,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be-
Trunks?
Yeah. I don't know, what do you
Trunks
call them?
full of sneakers?
With when people used to fly to different countries before this nightmare.
Yeah.
A
They'd
duffel
come home
bag?
from holidays and they'd fill up their
Yeah. It's
I
like
can't think of the fucking word. The bag you
smuggling-
put on an airplane.
Suitcase.
like a
Luggage?
Suitcase.
Luggage.
Yeah, luggage. Yeah,
Filling
trunks.
your luggage full of American blue
Trunks.
jeans and then flying them back
Exactly.
across the Iron Curtain to make money.
Exactly.
Yes.
Bomber.
VGC has this story. I mean, a lot of places do. But that's where I saw it. That's videogameschronicle.com. That the new price is down from 329 euros. You say euro, right? Is it singular?
Euro,
Euros?
yeah.
Euro? Yeah, I don't know.
Euro. You could say you could say
yeah.
both. I thought you were like
Okay.
asking like you weren't sure if it was gyros or euros, like one of those.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Turkish.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Mario, but yes.
It's okay. It's Mario. Okay, so it's down from 329 Mario to
Marios.
269 Mario.
Nice.
And a similar drop in pounds sterling. That's what we call that, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Nobody-
kind of
yeah.
match that drop. That's
It's
only
decent amount.
happened. Yeah, and it seems like this is that Nintendo was given a statement on this because this is kind of just a price cut on the base model regular ass Switch. This is before that OLED model is coming out, and it is not the Switch Lite. It is just that original ass Switch. And the statement that Nintendo of Europe gave to VGC is, let's see here. Nintendo of Europe is changing the European trade price of the Nintendo Switch console to retailers more than 4.5 years after its first release. Nintendo Switch continues to have strong sales momentum in Europe. After carefully weighing up a variety of factors, including currency exchange rates in Europe and the upcoming launch of the OLED model, we decided that now was the appropriate time to change the European trade price of the Nintendo Switch. And so, like, there's no, I guess Europe doesn't really have like a manufacturer suggested retail price the same way that we tend to have here. So it's the sort of thing where local retailers may or may not honor it, but it seems like they would. And so I wonder if this is something we will see in other territories as we get closer to that OLED launch. But if there are saying currency exchange rates, then maybe it just has to do more with that than an adjustment we'll see worldwide.
Yeah,
But
the
still, that's
recommended
the first-
retail price stuff in Europe is always a little bit fidgety because the cost of living can fluctuate fairly heavily in different countries. Like, in France, you tend to pay a lot for hardware. Like, and other places, software is super expensive. But yeah, it's not uncommon. I feel like I used to see this more in Europe than since living here, that you would have these big, like, maybe it's by virtue of the way that they sell the stuff, like you said, the MSRP is like an RRP or whatever, but you did tend to have these big, like, oh, it's down now. It's kind of out of nowhere. So I don't know what. I wonder if there's some sort of European law thing that makes it so these big beats happen every couple of years, but that's pretty common.
Yeah, it is. Yes, and I think that the question people always ask is, like, are we going to see this mirrored around the world? And I feel like if you, like, historically, sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no.
Right.
But I think a lot of people have wondered, with that OLED model coming out relatively soon here, would we see some kind of drop? It probably has a lot to do with, like, how much inventory do they have of the old Switch? Do they want to blast that thing off shelves to make room for the OLED? Because they're just going to discontinue that model and replace it with the OLED, or what the situation ends up being. But yeah, something to watch if you are in the market for a Switch and don't want to switch Lite and don't want to switch OLED, is like, will this change happen elsewhere? Delay watch. We should really get some delay watch music or something.
Gonna have to get used to this.
Yes. Dying Light 2 has been delayed to...
We had to push it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what we can...
That's pretty good.
Dying Light 2 has been delayed to February, along with every other game. Is now on for February of next year. I think the Rocksmith remake, reboot, whatever, the next Rocksmith, I think, is also pushed into next year at some point.
Is that?
Yeah. Horizon is
February
2nd, I think, not the 4th, but it's I think they went to 2/22 and not 2/4/22. But CEO of Techland in a tweet announcing the delay, the quote here is, "We are sorry to keep you all waiting a little longer, but we want the game to meet your highest expectations on release, and we don't want to compromise on this." So they're citing, like,
no compromises.
We just need a little bit more time for polish. This is the, let's say, 40th time this game's been delayed.
Yeah.
It's fair.
And,
Original release date was January of 2020.
Ooh.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
which happened a while ago. That was in the
happened a while
previous
ago.
world.
Yeah,
Yes. I remember that.
in the
I
olden
don't.
times.
Yeah, of yore.
The before time. And lastly, a little. I don't. Today is the last day you can buy Forza Motorsport 7. We talked about this when they made the announcement that game was going to go off sale due to expiring licenses and stuff that they need to maintain. So that game will still be playable if you own it, but they are removing it from Game Pass, and you will not have an opportunity to own it and its DLC unless you act now. I don't know. I just, in case that is the most recent Forza Motorsport, and I don't think they have a date for when the next one of those will be coming along.
What if they were just like, psych?
Right? Because you demanded it. We extended it, and now it's back on Game Pass, sucker.
That's good.
Man.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty messed up. That's it. That one, like, this is stuff that happens all the time, but it's a weird one because in a normal the normal leapfrog they were playing with Horizon and Motorsport, there would have been another Motorsport by now, and instead they jumped the gun and had another Horizon ready instead, and Turn 10's going to take their time with rebooting Motorsport, I guess, or taking the number off it by the time they bring it back around. And yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
But not that
it
weird.
feels odd because it's not that old. It as well. It's like 2017 is also like not exactly new either anymore. So
No, yeah, that's, you talk about the before times. 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that feels like eons ago at this stage.
Right. Yes. So yes, today's the last day for that. They also said if you played it on Game Pass but bought any of the DLC, they will issue you a token for the full game, so that you can keep playing it along with the DLC. So that actually might be the side door way to get a pretty cheap copy of Forza. But I think they did put that stuff on sale. Across
I want
the
to
board.
say it's like $15 or something.
Yeah,
or even cheaper.
So,
God, I might grab it actually.
I believe I already have it. But yeah. All right. That's it for news.
There you
We'll
go.
take a break. We'll come back and get into some emails. How about that?
Love it.
All right, we're back, and that means only one thing: your emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is where you send your emails, and then we'll take a look at them, and then delete a lot of them, flag some of them, and read them accordingly. Chris from Chicago writes in and says, "Hey, so how did you get into video games? Did an Atari just appear in your home one day? Did you grab a Nintendo Power randomly? Did someone bring a Game Boy to school? Like what happened? What happened? How did you end up like this? Let's start with Jan and go counterclockwise."
We'll go back in time.
Shouts out to my uncle Alan or Alan. If you don't have a Filipino accent, he had a Sega Genesis, and it was like, "Yo, Jerome, this shit's hella tight." And then me being 2 or 3, I was like, "Yo, you're right, Uncle Alan, this is hella tight." And then I specifically remember it was the X-Men game for the Sega Genesis, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to play or beat a level. That I was
Shit, I still can't. That game's fucking hard, dude.
I don't know why he gave it to me then. And I was just in like an ice level as the beast, and I got upset that I couldn't make anything happen.
Aw.
And he was outside working on his car, and I went outside and it started raining. And then I was like, "Uncle Alan, I can't figure this out. I can't figure this out." And then he just looks at me. It's like, "Get in. Let's get McDonald's."
That
the
made everything
answer.
better.
That's the answer.
And you were hooked
And I was hooked.
from that day forward.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sounds like a cool uncle.
He's
It's
pretty
like
tight.
playing video games equals McDonald's.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like Beast standing out in that ice level, you know?
And then
God, that is such a
or
weird
little
one.
Jan standing in the rain.
Oh.
All right, Danny, what do you got?
My brother, sister, and myself had a joint Christmas present. It was by far the biggest thing we ever got because we didn't really. Those early years, there wasn't much presents going around. But we got like a. I don't know how it came, but it was the Amiga 600, like the box that's literally behind me right now. That was what was underneath the Christmas tree. The Wild, the Weird, and the Wicked. It had a pushover putty, the Jeff Crammond Formula One video game, and Deluxe Paint 3 in it. And I guess Commodore was kind of selling the Amiga as it's not just a rot your kids' brains, video game thing. It's also educational. But
Sure.
we just played games on it, and occasionally did Deluxe Paint. And that was it. And I had my brother and sister to show me how to play games because I was young. I was like 6 maybe, and I wasn't good at them or anything, so I kind of watched them. It's also how I got into F1. Weirdly enough, my sister got way into Jeff Crammond's F1, then started watching F1, and then I started watching F1. So I got a lot to thank for Santa Claus bringing an Amiga 600 in 1992.
Jason, what about you?
Atari 2600 showed up under the Christmas tree, and it was for me apparently, but my uncle and aunt and mother all played it way more than I did. They would not give me a turn, but it was my goddamn system.
The Christmas
and I'll never
law-
forgive them.
The Christmas laws, it was deemed to you. So what the heck?
Yeah.
My mom would steal my NES as well. God damn it. Like on days that I was sick home from school, I'm like, fuck yeah, I get to play video games. No, she would actually go and take it and play it in her room. Even though I was homesick. That pisses me off. My
You're a
oldest
gamer by
son,
blood.
my oldest son, his first was PlayStation. And I remember one night when he was 3, I'll never ever forget. He would not go to bed, and it was probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and he's just screaming at the top of his lungs, "I just want to play video games!" And,
But that doesn't happen to you every night? That's
awesome.
no,
That's what
Not
I do.
anymore.
That's
Yeah.
my life. I scream
God damn.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
I just
It's-
oh god.
It's like night terrors, but
play video games.
You're just generations of gamers over there.
Yeah.
how about you, Backlar?
I don't really know. My earliest memory is my dad, I think, buying an Atari 2600. I don't know how he acquired it. I was way too young to really appreciate it. I was probably like 3 or 4 at the time. And the only thing I know about my introduction then was like, he did not play it. Like, he got it. So I assume like someone, like, he must have just gotten it somehow. Because I don't think he would have actively bought it. Because my dad does not play video games. Pinball is the extent of his gaming. And I just, like, that's my first memory of it. I'm not even sure that's what got me into it, because I don't have that many memories of playing Atari either. It's more NES is like the first thing. But but NES, but that, by the time I got NES, that was like the thing I wanted. I remember being like, this is what I want. And it was a gift for the holidays.
Yeah. For me, it's like there's like 3 separate memories, and I'm not sure what order they happened in. I guess I could, probably like look up when stuff was released or whatever, and maybe parse it out. But it was like we went to an arcade at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and I don't think it was the first arcade I had ever been to, but there was an arcade out there, and they had the Space Invaders pinball machine. Which was terrifying compared to the art on actual Space Invaders cabinets. But I remember, having to hit both flippers at the same time because I had to play it world flipper style. And then I had my great aunt. Her kids had a 2600, and they had like Pitfall and stuff like that. I remember seeing that and falling in love with that. But I think I'd already been to arcades multiple times at that point. And then when home systems started kind of happening, I wanted an Atari 2600 because I'd seen that and played that, and I was like, that's the thing. And my parents got me a Fairchild Channel F.
Wow. That was the first cart system, right?
I think it was among them, yes. And it had these weird knobby controllers that you could pull up and push down. It didn't have buttons, but you could turn it and move it in directions and pull it up and push it down. And it was really goofy, and it had a bowling game that I got like amazing at. But only had like 20 or 30 games, and I think I only had like 6 or 7. So I still wanted a 2600, and then they got me an Atari 400, which was a computer. It had the crappy membrane keyboard. Like the Atari 800 is the like real version of that, which I eventually upgraded to one of those. But the 400 and a cassette tape deck to play games off of, but it also took cartridges, because it was a computer, and the idea of like your Amiga story about like, well, this is not just for games; it can be educational. And I think that the Fairchild had like a math game on it or something, and so my mom got suckered on that one as well, probably. It
was a great idea, because no kid is going to say it's actually not really educational. You know what I mean? It's like a great scam.
Yeah. They're not going to out themselves. Yeah.
But yeah, so so I had that Atari 400 and a bunch of cartridges for that, and Star Raiders and all that sort of stuff. And I think between that and like me and my dad would go to the arcade. Not every weekend, but fairly frequently. There were like 3 or 4 in the area that we would mostly just go to the one in Petaluma, which was Dodge City, and it was in a bank. It was an old bank, and so they had games in the vault. Which was kind of awesome.
Cool.
And then they eventually moved to a bigger location in the fairgrounds, which was like a much bigger location. I peed my pants in that arcade because I had a really good game of the Superman pinball machine that I didn't want to walk away from.
All right, I was about to knock you, but hey, I respect that. I respect the hell out of that.
And
I'm gonna piss myself in this.
I'm gonna piss myself because I'm doing so well at it.
Jeff's always been a gamer.
That's right, man.
Pissing himself for high scores.
Hell, fucking yeah. Yeah, and then so like that was probably like 81 or 82 or something. There was like a Chuck E. Cheese in the area, and they had different games. There was 2 other arcades. There was the Aladdin's Castle in the mall, and then there was another place.
God,
I can't remember the name of it, but there was like multiple arcades.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
In different towns, like you had to drive a little bit, but
Yeah.
sometimes you get
Right.
bored of the stuff that was in your town. You'd be like, well, we just need to drive up to Katati,
It's
and in this
True.
shitty mall here, the shitty
That's
strip
awesome.
mall, they've got Red Alert, and they've got this. And if we go up to the Aladdin's Castle, they've got Mousetrap, and they've got Kung Fu Master, and all that sort of stuff. And so you just need to get out and see the other games. Like, you have for a while you had to go to Chuck E. Cheese if you wanted to play Donkey Kong Jr. because Dodge City didn't fucking have it. They had Seawolf, and you're like, done with Seawolf.
I can't imagine like kids nowadays having fond memories of arcades, because in my experience now, walking through like a Dave and Buster's or like a Round One, it's all just those roller coaster style ones where it's just like a giant thing in the middle that you kind of shoot sometimes or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it's like,
Doodle
I
jump.
like them, crane games, but I
yeah.
don't see that being.
You have a problem, but I feel like I think there's a lot of analog stuff that's still appealing.
Yeah.
Like skee ball. Like whenever I see skee
Mhm.
ball, it's mobbed. There's something just real fun. But yes,
Yeah.
the memory of like finishing the Simpsons game or the X-Men or Ninja Turtles, I'm not sure is a thing anymore.
I just go to my
Yeah.
garage now, just turn on NBA Jam.
There
and
you go.
Go to the
Yeah.
soundboard and just go to. What is it? It's a facial.
Delivers the
Ex-
facial.
Delivers the facial. Delivers the
Yeah.
facial.
Yeah. It'll just say it over and over as many times as you need it. It's there for you.
Living
I just
the
wish that
dream.
there was a way to wire it up so there was just a button that would just make it say Pippin. Or Pippin!
Pippin.
Just over and over again. Make
Is
it like
Elijah
text
one in
message
that one?
tone.
I've seen a different
I
one.
think he is. If he's not in that, he's in Tournament Edition, I think.
Elijah
But
one. I
somewhere.
need to turn
Elijah
on that
one.
other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It was great. I remember playing this in Europe and not having a fucking clue who any of these guys were.
right.
funny.
Yeah.
I knew who Bill Clinton was. That was it.
I had that same thing, like getting into NFL Blitz and not giving a shit about football. It was just like, I know 4 of these names, and the team I'm playing is the Lions. I don't even know who the fuck any of these people are. But that was the same thing with hockey. I eventually had to learn who Luke Robitaille was,
As we
because
all
I plays
did.
the Kings so much. Which is
Rite
the
of
one with
passage.
Gretzky on it. I know who that guy is. He's good.
It's your hockey bar mitzvah.
Yeah. This email is from Dan Reichert. Our thoughts, of course, with him today. This is Dan Reichert. I used to work there. I kind of still do. It came to my attention that you discussed my bidet ownership on the last Bombcast. While this is correct, I want to offer a clarification. I own 2 bidets.
Oh, well.
I think I got them on a lightning deal for like $25 each. I also installed them myself. The ones that connect to hot water sound nice, but it turns the installation process into a whole to-do.
Yeah,
Mine
it's a
only use
nightmare.
ice cold water, but honestly, it doesn't matter. It's still 1,000 times better than no bidet at all. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
How
Dan.
did that come up? What happened? Why are we talking about Dan's butthole?
Oh,
Ooh,
you know,
I
as you
can't even
do.
remember.
It just kind of, I don't remember.
How'd you do?
Yeah.
Just a random Tuesday in September.
Was
Yeah.
this the podcast? I don't remember if it was the podcast.
It was the
I think
podcast. Yeah.
I think this was the podcast.
Since I was here.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
not joking when I say this. How's he fucking hear about that? You think someone just tweets him and is like, "Yo, your butthole is being."
He's got
exposed
people
on
everywhere, man.
Bombcast."
Yeah. He's
He knows everyone.
You gotta watch what you say. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm at
Watch what
1,000
you say.
years.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh,
By the way, as someone who went away for a week and did not have their bidet, I'm now
Mhm.
also file bidets into the snob category as well. If we're going through it,
definitely.
Sitting on a
They've
bidet,
started there. They're
drinking
still
an
there.
IPA.
I mean, it's yeah, I like that, Danny. Yeah, like I don't know it. I kind of wanted to bring it. Like there's something that happens. I don't want to get too personal. I don't want to get too personal here, but like it has changed my fucking life. It has changed the way I decide when I'm having coffee. Okay,
What?
without getting because
Is the
because-
bidet a sex thing? Is that what I'm hearing? Is it like
No, I'm not fucking. It's a. You don't know what it is?
I mean, it
I
can
know
be
what it
because anything
does,
can
but-
be.
yeah? I'm like maybe just like you turn it on hyper.
I mean, if anything, the bidet's fucking
I don't
you.
know.
If anything, the bidet's
Yeah.
fucking you. But
That's
no,
what I'm saying. Is that what this is all about? Bidet is
no.
it's
This
a sex
is
aid.
this is the least sexual thing on earth.
Hey man, the least
Because-
sexual thing to
Wow.
you is the most sexual thing to someone else.
Yeah.
Look, again, I'm not going to yuck at someone else's yum. I'm just saying it has changed the way I fucking
Yep.
think about the
Yeah,
That
poop.
is a phrase.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
make that up.
you
No credit.
schedule around that.
Yeah,
you
like,
live
I'm
life
never-
around
I'm-
your bidet.
Yeah, because now, coffee is closely related to that. And I'm not going to drink my coffee outside of the house anymore because I don't want to chance the idea of having to not have my bidet for that session. You know what
Does
I
coffee
mean?
make
Like,
you shit? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
it's a diuretic.
Coffee
yes.
makes you shit.
The
Okay,
bean juice,
right.
yeah.
For me,
Used
I
to be
feel like
cigarettes
it's
for
it's a
me.
That
roulette
is
wheel
too.
when it comes to that of just like sometimes I drink a coffee and it goes all the way bad. Sometimes it doesn't.
Oh,
Wait, what? What do you mean it goes all the way bad?
You gotta poop.
I mean, like,
Oh no, you're supposed to shit after you.
no,
drink
I
coffee.
mean, like sometimes it goes all the way bad, and I'm like,
Scutters.
look, okay,
Did you
fine.
shit out an
if-
organ? What are you saying?
practically, if organs were made of liquid and it took 3 different attempts to make it happen, then yes.
Jeez. I mean, look. I don't know what kind of coffee you're drinking, but
It's
yeah,
a
but you
variety.
guys
It's
just like-
it's really,
keeps you- it
sometimes
keeps you
it's something
regular.
it's something as simple as like a Starbucks blended drink, nothing even weird. And then sometimes it's like something a little more intense or whatever, or
bring in
real, I
more of
guess,
that
if you wanna say.
dairy.
But
You're rolling
Might
the
clog
dice,
up the
man.
pipes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the
I'm-
act of
I'm-
using the bidet so good, or is the idea of wiping your ass with paper now so bad? Like, why so much of a preference for the bidet?
It's
Yes.
just it's a much cleaner process and a much more cleaner feeling. You leave the situation feeling fresher than perhaps when you arrived. It's like you think your butt takes a shower, dude. Like that's the best. 90% of the reason I shower is for my butt, and now I
Okay.
get the butt shower whenever I want. If I'm home,
tell me
just-
about the butt shower. I have
I
the butt
can't get
shower
away from
sometimes
the
3 times in a
idea.
row.
Like,
know?
are you guys just like, are you just so bad at wiping your ass you were just smearing shit all over yourself? Like,
no,
what was going on?
it's not a comfortable thing.
Jesus.
I don't enjoy the process. And if I have the option to spray a finely, threaded needle of water, like, fuck yeah, let's roll that way. Are you
Okay,
kidding?
I got a question. What about when you have a house guest, right? And they're not familiar with bidets. Do you give them the
don't-
rundown? Or
Do you give them a
Yeah,
heads up,
so-
like what's going to happen? Like,
Your
you
en
are
suite.
assuming,
Just surprise
you are
them.
You are assuming I've outfitted my entire house with bidets, and that is not the case.
well, Dan has
It's just
too, so I
mass-
thought like
So
maybe
Dan,
that's common.
Dan's
My-
a fancy, streamer. He can afford that.
Stream. Okay, yeah, I see what you're doing. Streamer, nice.
There it is. There it is.
So my bidet is currently inactive. It's not been wired up. We need to get a GF, like what is
Condolences.
it, ground fault, like needs some electrical work done.
You need Dan Riker to come over.
Yes.
Bad
No,
idea.
because I got one that is a heated seat and warm water and has motors that will aim the stream and all. It has a remote control. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Okay.
It's a whole thing.
Jesus. It's got a remote?
Like you
So
can
you're
mount it
just
to a
like-
wall or whatever, and so you can it'll
camera?
spin.
You can aim.
It'll spin the water around if you want. It'll go zzz,
Oh my
zzz, zzz.
god.
oh, I like a little
Does
swirly.
it
Yeah.
wax.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
It's and so
So you get
it
it.
takes. Yes, but it's not currently hooked up. But it is hooked up
But
in the downstairs
Cushy.
bathroom, which is probably what guests will use. And so I will be in a situation where people will go and look at it and go, "What?" And then they will have to sit down on it, and it will start making noise, and they will go, "Ah!" Yes, go ahead,
That's
Mr.
right.
Backlar. You have a question?
Amazing.
why are you putting the bidet in like the community toilet?
He's a
Ice
generous
Pro.
man.
Huh?
It was
We've actually gone through
originally-
this, but
It was originally in the
Oh, yeah.
master
Oh, right.
bedroom.
This is how it came up.
We
Sorry.
swapped toilets between the two rooms.
Toilet
Oh, you
swapping.
d-
Yes.
My
Wait,
wife
so
doesn't
you
want
brought-
anything to do. My wife doesn't want anything to do with this bidet lifestyle. She does not want to be near it. She does not want to think about it. She does not want to see it.
But that was the cursed toilet. That was the toilet that had the incident.
Yes, we moved the cursed toilet up there.
You brought it
It's like
upstairs?
Annabelle.
The call is coming inside the ensuite.
Okay. I'm engaged.
So yes. So as a result of moving that around, I wanted to keep it. It's the one closest to my office, so it's the one that I would be most likely to use, I suppose.
There you go. So, there you go.
And so it's but it's also the only downstairs. There are 2 bathrooms upstairs. We could say like, oh, use the hall bathroom upstairs, which would be weird to make guests go upstairs to use the bathroom, but maybe it'll go that way. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Just
We haven't had guests
refer
over.
to the
There's a
one.
pandemic. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Right. True.
you could refer to the one downstairs as like the pleasure closet or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, I'll write that on the.
Right
look,
on
9
the
times out of 10,
PC.
if I'm in someone's house, right, and I have to do that,
What's that?
make a duty, right?
Mhm.
Oh no, what's being in other people's houses? Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there was a good 2 months where everything was cool. I don't know about you guys on the West Coast, but like everyone here was vaccinated and we were all just like, it's over. And
Yeah.
that was not true. Anyway,
There was like a 2-week period where it was like, let's go shopping.
yeah. Well, here's the 2-week period where
You want to go eat somewhere?
the guidance
Spin your face.
was fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I remember before that, if I have the option to go upstairs in someone's home, I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't want to be on the same
What?
floor as them during that.
Oh, when you're doing
it's
your
just-
when you're doing your loud
Yeah,
business,
like I just
get
want
it. You might
I
have
want
to
to go away. I want to go
Yeah,
away.
you want to go away. You want to really scream one out. I get it.
What do you do in the bathroom? What are you doing to yourself in the bathroom?
It's just one of those things where it's like, you know what? Especially like the geographical location of the toilet that's relating to where everyone's hanging out. Like if it's a toilet next to like the room where everyone's chilling, you're not just gonna be like, excuse me, and just go into the adjacent fucking
I don't
room.
shit in other people's houses.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes though,
Okay.
you
That's the
have
Sometimes.
to.
Yeah, you try not to.
Yeah.
But sometimes it comes up, and I mean, I don't. Yeah, I have clogged someone else's toilet before. It's not a. It's
not a great feeling.
You unclog
It's a-
it though.
Yeah, I had to look around and like improvise a little bit because I don't think the appropriate tools were there. But I
You gotta find crazy
I
glue
grabbed a
and
toothbrush and just like
sleeve, let's
got in there
go.
with it. And, yeah. Yes, just roll up the sleeves and all right.
All right.
Do you wipe your ass
there'd be-
even after using the bidet? Like it must be wet, right?
Well, you have
gotta
to
dry it
dry
off.
it. You have to dry it.
So
Yeah.
Mine
so
has
that-
a
wait,
has a
why
fan.
can't you
Mine has
just-
an air blower on it, so you can
Oh
you
shit.
can kind of so you can kind of get a lot of that dry that way, and then really you only have to you don't have to use much at the very end.
Man, y'all
I
are
mean,
really
it's minimal.
dirty right now. Jeez.
Yeah, you know,
Huh?
you know.
You can no. Yeah, that is just like a drying mechanism. Really, it's just that's all.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Dan's butthole.
yeah. Thanks, Dan, for bringing that to us. Let's see here. Justin writes in and says, "Hello, I've been in the craft beer industry for like 11 years now, and everything Jeff Gerstmann has said about craft beer is pretty much right. Now, Bacalar, I get you. Those soft, smooth IPAs are definitely different from the bitter West Coast styles, but they're so overhyped to a ridiculous price and still be hoppy AF. The new hotness is going to be lager. We're all getting back to the classics, and I think Jeff G would actually be into a lager over an IPA or sour. But yeah, it's so much cheaper to drink a vodka Red Bull or whatever Gatorade tragedy y'all were talking about. Anyway, fuck beer. P.S. My new therapist sounds like Bacalar, and it's weird but comforting."
Can you record them saying Mario?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is
I
a
was your
very
therapist.
strange way to end an email, but cool. Yeah.
Yes. That email was all over the place. That email's all over the
Pick the
place.
emails where people speak fondly of beer.
I haven't. I don't know that I've seen.
That's bullshit. People have hit me up on Twitter, been like, "Gerstmann's fucking screening that shit."
I don't know that I definitely didn't see any this week. That was the only beer email, and it was
All right, that's fair.
And that was
That's fair.
the one. I feel like it's tapered off quite a bit. So
I may or may not have gone to a brewery while we were up there in Cape Cod. That was, yeah. Anyway,
you have to like wait in
There's a lot of
line
time
to
there.
get a.
No, it was like a satellite location. It was great.
Okay, so you
Great.
just like walk in and said like, "Give me a case."
Yeah, you just make an order online, and 10 minutes later,
that's even better.
it's very nice.
Ian writes in and says, in relation to Danny's story, I also worked somewhere where a PSP or maybe a Vita was stolen off a kiosk.
Shit.
Metal.
Extra Vision is apparently the name of the place, which was like an Irish
Yes.
Blockbuster, he says.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Same situation. I mean, you can tell he's Irish because he says same situation. Fella walked up. Did you have to? Was that part of the test? If you used the word fella, did they say like, nope, you haven't been here long enough yet. We haven't gotten that out of you. Go back to the WWE, Seamus.
No, thankfully not. I did have to complete a writing test and a reading test, which was basically like the sentence came up and she was like, read that. I was like, I think it said the White House is in Washington, D.C. And then I had to like write almost the same thing. So that was it. So
I'd fail that test. I feel like
I made the cut.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd fail that for sure.
Anyway, same situation. Fellow walked in the middle of the day with a jigsaw and cut clean through it. Word must have gotten out in Ireland that those kiosks were easy work. I knew the guy who stole it, and it worked fine.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Obviously,
it
it worked fine. You stole
No,
a
but-
PSP.
Wow.
No, because
Like
it was
you stole-
powered. I thought it couldn't work because it had this weird external hookup to it.
Yeah.
I-
Or
now
sometimes
I
they're
feel
running
so
weird
much
firmware
better.
that doesn't run retail games, or it's like there's kiosk firmware in some cases too. So
Yeah,
I suppose, yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That changes like the vibe of my story. Now I'm thinking, man, those kids had a blast. It worked. That's awesome.
yeah, the heist of the century for
play.
them. What an
it.
amazing summer.
Yeah, God, now I want
Still
to know if it
talking
was the
about
Extravision in Waterford. They might have just been on a tear, just
Yeah.
like different family
Yeah.
members stealing.
Maybe yours didn't work for them, and they're like, well, we got to steal another one. We got to find one.
Shit. I thought I was happy with the toaster that we stole from a strip club, but that sounds more.
Man.
Tell me a little bit about more of that story, Jason.
We were on our way out of the strip club, and it was a bachelor party, and there were a bunch of us that just bum rushed the break
Kitchen?
room,
Oh, okay.
kitchen area of the strip club.
seems-
and
This seems
That seems like
bad.
a good way to
Toaster.
go to jail or get punched by
Yeah,
a
or
bouncer.
a shot.
Or
Yes.
yeah, it was towards the end of the night. So
okay, yeah.
anyway,
All
But you
bets.
got the
it was
toaster.
hoisted. It was hoisted above like a trophy.
All right.
Right out of the strip club.
Best toaster.
I would
ever
love to
has
hear
tasted.
from
Time
someone
ago.
the other end of
Someone
that
places-
story.
Yeah.
Of like, well, we were
Yes.
in the break room after a long, hard night, and then like 8 drunk dudes bum rushed the break room and stole our toaster.
It's about to make my evening Pop Tarts.
Right.
So weird.
4 a.m. out here. Got to make my Pop Tarts before I.
That's where I hid my
Yeah.
money.
Oh.
Jeremy from Indiana writes in and says, as someone that also owns a bidet, I am always
Oh, we're
obligated
at
to
it.
tell everyone that I have a bidet, including people who do not know me.
That's very good.
What is the video game version of being someone in that lifestyle? And he goes on to
that's
say
a
something
really-
that is objectively better, but people outright refuse to do it, and people that do participate won't shut up about it. I think it is people who use grip accessories for their controllers, says Jeremy. I don't know about objectively better. To leave that part out, I'm going to say it's people that buy flight sticks, racing wheels. Crazy.
Ooh.
Lunatics. They're bad
I'm
people.
wearing that. I'm in that
I don't
lifestyle.
trust them.
No, but like the
Yeah.
bidet, you as a bidet owner, Jeff, you get
Yeah.
it. You realize it is not as extravagant as a flight stick.
I guess not. Yeah. It's just like, well, I don't know. Mine, heats the water.
It sings
heats up the
songs.
seat when you sit
I mean,
on
yours
it.
is
Yeah. I mean,
pretty otherworldly.
This does
Yeah.
actually
Me and my
sing songs.
me and my filthy ass just sit in that race seat every day, just
exactly.
crunching up those
Now,
wheel
what
nuts.
if you could install a bidet into that racing seat?
Now you're
Oh my
talking.
god!
Now
Yeah,
you're
like
talking.
every time I get like a faster slap, I get a spray on my gooch.
Yeah.
Right in the
Right.
gooch.
Or like if you finish last. I'm trying to think like, yeah, if it's a reward or a
It's
punishment.
like a champagne
can't-
shower, you know? Like,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What do
at
they
the
do
end of
in
the
that one? Milk?
Fill it
Is
full of
a
milk and
thing?
then yeah.
That's Indy, isn't it, or NASCAR?
Is it? I don't know. That's a
I think it's
really
Indy 500.
that's the weirdest fucking thing in sports
milk.
by far. Is
Yeah.
just like the milk bath. I don't get it.
You drink the milk, don't you? You drink the
No,
milk
I-
after you win the Indy
I don't know.
500.
I don't know why I see them pour. I have a
They get
visual
messy
of them
with milk.
pouring it on. Yeah, what the fuck is that? Someone explain that to me, and someone explain the milk shit to me, and not have it sound absolutely as insane as it looks.
is that like
You
another
can't do it.
coffee thing?
I can't
Or
do
is
it.
that-
I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems
Um,
crazy, right? I don't know.
Traditions, man, they don't need to make sense. The traditions that don't make sense are the ones that last because they're so weird and idiosyncratic.
Yeah, no one knows why they're
gotta
doing
keep
it
doing
anymore.
that.
It's just like
Yeah.
just what we do. Yeah. That's it. I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, was it originally alcohol, and then someone said like, you know what, we're in a driving sport, and maybe we shouldn't
Oh.
spill beer all over ourselves at the end of
White
it.
Russian.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
big milk
right.
money entering in.
Yeah. Yes.
NASCAR
Big
or
dairy
whatever.
coming in.
What? Has anyone lactose intolerant ever won an indie event? It's just like no.
Get that away
I
from
mean,
me.
kids who are too young to drink have won like F1 races. Like I think who was it? Somebody won the Austin race, and because it's 21 over here, they couldn't have spray the champagne or something like that. And then like when they do it in like the Middle East, they use like rose water because you can't have them just spraying champagne in Abu Dhabi or whatever.
Huh. That's a
Shame.
Yeah. Austin from the Bay Area writes in and says, I recently watched an IGN video saying Lawrence Fishburne is not in the new Matrix movie due to his character dying in the Matrix Online MMO, and they said the MMO would be considered canon when it released. Do you believe this, or do you possibly expect some Kojima shenanigans? I feel like Austin is... That's not Kojima shenanigans. But yes, they did. When that game came out, they definitely said this game is canon. Like when the Matrix Online came out, they were like, no, this is real. When Morpheus dies, this is part of the storyline of the Matrix. This is all meant to be real. So,
But also,
Your character gets
feel
killed
like-
off and you're not even there for it. That's
I
that's
just
rough.
feel like Matrix canon is so flexible and fucking do whatever you want with it. Not to mention 2 decades later, people are like, who fucking cares? I don't know.
It's not
Is- is
flexible.
Ma-
It's just that people don't remember what the fuck happened in the second and third movies.
I just feel like you could
So it's-
do
it's
whatever
not-
you want. If you know, like you could do whatever you want.
I think it's like just is it a recursion? Is it a new version of the Matrix or isn't it? Answers basically all those questions because then it's just different Morpheus or it's different person or it's younger Morpheus or he's inside his own thing. Like I'm sure no matter what, like say what you want about the Matrix and its storyline, but it was consistent throughout the games and the movies the entire time. There was no like, you know,
except for the giant Agent
messing with
Smith that they made is like, you know,
yes,
that they kind of came out and said like, hey, we wanted to make a fun other.
That shows you how much they cared about
Exactly.
the canon of the games that they literally turn up at the end of that game and say, this game would have been boring unless we did this, have this fight.
Yeah.
This is not canon.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure now that they've revived it, you'd fucking want Morpheus in there, and they'd find a way to get Morpheus back in there. In
So
fact,
I think
maybe he is. You know, like
right. Like, is Morpheus in it, but it's not Lawrence Fishburne because of something that happened? Is Lawrence Fishburne in it, but he's not playing that Morpheus? Like, all of these
Sure.
things are possible when you
sure.
when you rip apart what that movie could be, and as a, you know, are they again like, yeah, are they rebooting the Matrix? Is it a revision of the Matrix where in this one Morpheus is a lady? You know, there's a zillion different things they could do to make that work in the fiction while still holding true to the idea that in that version of the Matrix, that version of Morpheus died in the MMO, and that's real and that happened. Like there's definitely ways they could do that. But I also, yeah, if they could they put Lawrence Fishburne in these films, in this film, and I assume if they make a new trilogy of them, could they put him in it at some point? Of course,
Of course.
They've also like recast people within the Matrix part of the
Exactly.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Like the Oracle died
Well,
between.
she died.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like they didn't just like they made a
explained it.
reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made
so,
it
like,
a story.
So you don't have to like look the same. You know, they all just
Exactly.
sort of.
Like, is the and I don't know if this question is answered because I've tried not to. I've tried not to read stuff that are just trying to like frame by frame the trailer and say what does
Yeah,
it mean,
me too.
because that's like
Yeah,
the least interesting.
yeah.
But like to me, it's entirely possible that the guy that Keanu Reeves is fighting in that dojo is just that's Morpheus now. Like
Sure,
you could tell me
sure.
that, and I would go like, okay, yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for that. Like it's
So you guys didn't talk
That-
about that trailer last week, right?
we not
I don't
really.
think it was
no.
out. Was it?
I don't think it was out yet. I think it was Thursday that
right,
the
okay.
trailer
Yeah.
came out. I like it a lot. I watched it like about 3 times and spent like the next 2 days doing nothing but thinking about it.
Yeah.
Without
wow.
watching it again. And at this
Ditto.
point, I'm not going to watch it again. I don't think.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are like, fuck, is this 4th movie going to make 2 and 3 better? Like, I think there's a lot of people out there who are like worried about that happening.
It's
I
like the
think
Star
two's
Wars
fine.
original, like the fucking prequel trilogy apologists out there that are like that have decided that those movies were actually good, and now they're getting around to Matrix 2 and 3. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I did
So
think 3 was not good though. Like I remember
2 is a
being-
fucking fantastic. Like 2 is a
2 is
great
fun.
movie. Like you
2
can
is
not
fun.
like 2, but 2 is a good fun movie. And 3,
It
I like
2,
it.
I
But
feel like
get
2
why
has
people
good fun
don't.
moments in it, but
Yeah.
but also at this point, it's been I don't know how long,
20
15 years since I've seen either
Close
of
to
them.
20.
So I don't remember the last time I saw either.
It's super
I don't think I've seen 3 all the way through since it was initially released, and I remember leaving that going like, "Fuck, all right, whatever."
I remember
But by that
seeing
time, I was already
2.
kind of like done with 2.
Yeah. They released them like 6 months apart, right? It was like a
Yeah.
summer winter thing. I remember
Right.
seeing 2 and being like, this movie's not fully cooked. Like I remember that Agent Smith fight, right? With all the Smiths being like, they need to wait 10 years for if they want to do this thing that they're doing here. They need to
Tech's
wait
not there
10
yet.
years. The tech's
Yeah.
just not
Nah,
there
It
yet.
looked good for the time.
It was
Maybe
good
I was too
enough,
young
though.
or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked the
But
way
I-
that stuff looked fake because I think it, contextualized within
Sure.
the idea of what the Matrix is. You're like, okay, this still works.
Yeah.
I
I remember
I
laughing
mean,
a lot.
the
in that
car
movie.
chase scene is like fucking one of
Sick.
the best,
Amazing.
20-minute
Sick.
sequences. And
Totally.
The twins, yeah.
Of course.
Sick.
So I had that.
So
I
good.
went about that a weird way because, man. So like we covered E3, and then Enter the Matrix came out, the game, and then the second Matrix movie I think was out like the last day of E3. It was like that Friday.
Mm.
And
think I
so
like
I
that game.
remember I went home and immediately started working on the review of the game because we got the game at E3. And I had to go home and immediately start playing it without having seen the second movie. Other people, I think Ryan McDonald like stayed around. I think I remember this right. He went and saw it that Friday night, that like last day of E3, or last day in LA, and like fell asleep in the theater because it was at the end of fucking E3 and everyone was fucking done. And so like that's you talk about like the canon and how much they care about it. Like that was the first time you ever heard the word I ever heard the word transmedia was because they
Yeah.
were trying to make Enter the Matrix be this very meaningful part that fills in gaps around what was happening during
Yes.
or before and during the second film. And as a result, it took on this increased sense of importance compared to any other movie game that had come out by that point. Because you're like, well, they say this is going to matter. And then you play that game and you're like, this game is kind of bullshit. And it's got like a really neat, weird terminal mode hacking thing in it that's awesome that then Black Ops would do later. But like the game itself was fucking bad. It was just bad shooting. It didn't feel good. The story was just kind of not there enough to really make it feel like it mattered. And so then I went and saw the second movie after that with like whatever half-baked knowledge I had of the game. And by that point it was just like, this whole thing feels like it's up its own ass in a way that I kind of can't truck with. and then the third would have came out, and by that time I was like, all right, fuck you.
And then Speed Racer came out, and you were like, "Yeah, they're back."
Yes.
Yeah.
Speed Racer
movie's
is
fucking fun.
Speed Racer is the Matrix sequel that you didn't know you
So
needed,
good.
baby. Oh,
So good.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. Cloud Atlas is like a mess in loads of ways, but there's elements of it I like. And I mean, the only one that Jupiter Ascending to me is just nonsense. But like, I'm excited that this one doesn't look like the first three. That like there's
Yes.
clearly some crazy camera tech going on with the CG. I don't know what it is, but it looks so vibrant and weird. And also like it's not in like a mega city. Like that's just San Francisco. So
Right.
it's not in the same world as the first ones. Like it looks neat.
Oh, I'm definitely
like I watched that
excited.
trailer and I was like, for like whatever ill will I was harboring about those second and third movies is just gone.
All right.
It's just not there
Wow.
anymore. Like
Good for you.
I have completely let go of that stuff, and like I kind of want to rewatch those movies. I probably will rewatch the whole trilogy and maybe finally watch the rest of the Animatrix that I never bothered to watch. But it got me like that. It got me like that to where I watched that. And I was like, fuck yes, god damn,
Awesome.
fuck yeah.
It because it really is the perfect amount of time that has passed. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it is. People are just ripe for it. It is just. It just feels like the exact perfect amount of time to do another one of these, and I think there is a certain nostalgia there for people of a certain age, and yeah, like I just I was in college when 2 and 3 came out, and I was a lot more scathing and shitty back then. And when you see 2 in the theater and you're like 19 and you're just like, what the fuck are they doing with that dance thing in the beginning for like 11 minutes?
Yeah, love it. Sexy. Let's go.
And you're just like, I just remember, and I also just remember laughing out loud at like parts that were not meant to be funny a bunch in that second and third movie.
Remember the orgasm cake? Remember that cake gave that lady an
No.
orgasm? The
Oh,
Merovingians
right,
like, look, I
yeah.
made that
With the
cum cake
Merovingian
over there.
thing?
It's good.
Yeah, like, why'd this computer want to be French? What's this about? I don't understand anything.
I had sex in a movie theater the first time I saw The Matrix. So I had to go see it again.
Holy
Cum
fuck.
cake. It worked. The cum cake worked.
You did it, Danny.
But the first movie. So
Oh,
maybe
sorry.
the first movie.
You're ahead.
Oh my
You're ahead of the
God.
curve.
Exactly. So
Oh my God.
It was Lord of the
I didn't
Rings
realize
2
we were
for
gonna.
me.
We went all. Oh shit! All right, Anchorman. Okay.
all right, next email. Let's see here. Doug writes in and says, I've been playing Genesis games. What would you rather see a new version of? Cyborg Justice or Eternal Champions? I can't decide. Anyone else have anything to say about this, or is this just one for me?
Yeah, I've never played either of those.
No idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Eternal Champions, man, that does not hold up. That game is rough.
No,
I don't.
that game's ass. That game was always ass. There's some like ROM hack version of it that tried to correct some aspects of it that I kind of want to look at.
I don't even know where you start.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
there's a lot. Cyborg Justice is an awesome game.
Yeah,
It's
there
a
you
great
go.
name.
Yeah, it's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and you can basically rip, like, it's robot on robot violence, and you are ripping the arms off of
Sexy.
the robots and blowing them up and all this other shit. You're stealing parts off of them and attaching them to yourself, and it's a neat game.
Oh wow, yeah. Look at this.
Give me a sequel to that.
Yeah, I would take another
Good
one of those
box
for
art.
sure.
Classic box art. Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. Let's 2 more emails. Here's a quiz for y'all.
Okay.
David from Texas has written in with a list of 16 Sonic the Hedgehog games. Can you tell which one is are real games and which ones are fake?
Yes.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'll be okay
Okay.
at this.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go with Jan's answers.
Oh, it's too much pressure.
All right, Jan, answer last.
Damn it.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Real.
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 It's real. Sonic Advance 4.
Oh, that's a curveball right away. I think that's fake.
That one's fake.
It's yep.
Sonic Triple Trouble.
Fake.
That beast
That
Fake?
feels
Real.
fake. That feels fake.
It's real. That's a Game Gear game.
Damn it.
Get the fuck out.
Of course.
Game Gear.
Sonic and Friends.
Not real.
Isn't it well, Sonic and Friends at the Olympics? Isn't it?
I'll say real. It's probably a mobile game or something.
Fake.
I think
It's fake.
Ah,
Sonic Drift
3, baby.
2.
Fake.
2?
Please be fake. Please
No,
be
I
fake.
think
shit's
that's
real.
real.
Yeah.
Is that the
That's a
don't
mobile?
Game
know.
Gear game.
Oh, the game.
Yeah.
Oh,
God damn it.
It's real. Sonic Drift 2.
the Game Gear games aren't near me right now, but
Yeah.
I have the first one, I think.
It was good enough for them to make a sequel. Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Real.
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 Real? No, fake.
That's a Wii game.
Ah, nuts.
So it's fake. I mean, because the Wii is fake.
Yeah.
Supersonic Blast.
Real.
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 I gotta side with Jan here.
It's
Wait,
fake.
Wait, Supersonic? Wait, Supersonic Blast? Ah,
Oh.
dang it.
Supersonic
Dang,
Blast
I've
is
never
fake.
heard of it.
Super.
Oh.
Sounded real.
The blast.
Sonic the
part.
Hedgehog 4 Episode 2.
Real. Real.
No, I think that's real because that was like
I think that's real.
like
They were
the-
episodic, weren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, they were.
That one's real. The Sonic.
Fake.
The gritty reboot.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
that was
that's
named
fake.
Shadow.
Fake.
Yeah.
It's got to be
I
fake.
think it's fake.
The
That was fake.
Sonic.
That's great.
Sonic Kart 3DX.
Yes, real.
Yeah, that almost has to be
Holy shit.
real.
I would have said fake, but
I guess
Jansen's.
real. Yeah, I'm piggybacking John. I would have said
All right.
fake.
Yeah.
That's a mobile game. That's real.
Wow.
Ah, damn.
Sonic Slam with periods. SLAM.
That
Sonic
sounds
Slam.
real.
If
I
it's
hope
not
it's real,
real,
so
that's
we
a-
can.
That's a great fake.
Yeah, I hope it's real, so we hear what the acronym or italicism was.
I don't think it's real.
Sonic loves all mothers, I think is what it stands for. That one's
Sonic.
fake.
Sonic loves all others. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like PUBG
Sonic's
Battlegrounds.
Casino Poker.
I think
I-
that's real.
I feel
True.
real. That feels real.
Real.
Yeah, that one's real.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
mobile
like
game.
it's like on hotel televisions or something, like casino
Yeah.
televisions.
Sonic and the Black Knight.
Real.
That's,
That was a
It's ringing
quick
a
real
bell.
from Jan. I'm with him.
yeah, real.
On the Wii.
Is that like a mobile?
Yeah. It's a
It's a
Wii,
Wii game.
Damn.
Sonic Rhythms.
Real.
Rhythms?
Fake.
That's real.
I'll say fake.
It's fake.
What?
Oh.
It sounds like a
Sonic Rhythms. Yeah, I don't know.
Sonic Rhythms. That sounds like it's already a thing.
I would not be shocked
Should
if there
be.
was another mobile game called that was not a Sonic the Hedgehog game or something like that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity.
Sure.
That feels
Fake.
real. Yeah.
There's a Riders.
Sonic
game for
Riders. Oh,
sure.
there is Sonic Riders.
Sonic
so
Riders. Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe
about
there's
the
a subtitle. Yeah. True.
That's real for PS2 and Wii.
Mhm.
Typing at Sonic speeds.
No. Fake. I wish.
I don't know this one. I don't think so.
Like a typing of the dead with Sonic.
Yeah. No.
Please don't
thanks.
tell me this exists.
No, it's
Oh,
fake.
no.
It should exist.
Oh,
but
okay.
That's can always
Should
use
exist.
another
It's
typing
a flash game.
Yeah. All right, let's just get through these next two here. Last week we on UPF we talked about the Taco Bell Battle Pass.
Ah, yes.
What?
Oh, someone did it.
Oh, so yes, so someone did. Yes. Oh, short version. Bacalar in Tucson, Arizona. Taco Bell is selling. Like basically, it's like if you give them an amount of money, I believe it's $10, and then you get 30 days of one taco a day.
Okay.
Any of their taco offerings.
Come on.
and it's a variety. Like you could get the potato taco, you could get the Doritos taco.
Oh
Whatever.
no.
That's so
no.
clever. That means you
Uh,
get to because you'll obviously buy something else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's nefarious. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Clark
Evil's
from
fun.
Tucson writes in. It says, I work with a person who first learned about the Taco Bell, taco lovers, whatnot, because I had UPF on in the service department where I work. They have now purchased it with the hope of purchasing it again after the first 30 days are up. They have done this specifically for the love of the spicy potato soft taco. They were talking of the joy they will have rolling up on a Taco Bell, saying their name, and getting a taco handed out the window to them. Just thought you might want to know that. P.S. I don't know why
That is
Tucson
pretty
is so
baller.
bad, but it is.
It's so much
Just
work for
digging
one
Tucson.
taco, though.
Right.
It's insane.
I mean, I guess if you're passing one on your way home, but like, aren't you going to get other stuff? Like, that's Taco Bell is counting on you getting more stuff and not just going like,
Of course.
my taco, please.
One taco. It's like
One taco a day. Come
Single
on.
taco, please.
wait. So
single
do you
taco.
just say your name and they have like?
Well,
a
it's like you
database
order
of-
off the app, I think. So you just go like, I'm picking
Ah.
up for whatever, and maybe they scan your thing, or maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't know how anything works.
Wow.
Well, after 10 days, they're probably going to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
The
how many,
fucking
but there
one
there are
taco
multiple.
guy.
I mean, maybe there are multiple taco guys because it's just happening in that town.
Well, they
So-
probably just
Huh.
have a list of everyone that has this taco battle.
Well, they
pass.
probably don't because
photograph.
I think you just place the order and they don't know how much it costs or doesn't cost because you probably pay on the app either way. So you just pull up and say your name and you're like, yeah, some idiot just got a taco. And they go, oh, he must be one of those assholes that got the pass. So maybe they learned it that way.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hmm?
You have to wonder if that guy says, see you tomorrow to the person at the window, if he's like,
I like
that
that.
level.
I like that.
It's,
oh my god.
I'd want to get on a level where I could just drive through the drive-through and they just like toss it in.
yeah. All right, here he comes. Here's his taco. Go.
Slowly drive by.
Yeah. Just like a pit stop style, just 2.1 seconds. Last email from Garth. In case this week you bring up the pinball auction, I want to bring up one very important point when it comes to speculating why pinball prices are going up. The answer is simple. Oh, Garth. Old white dudes have money and old white dudes love pinball.
Yep.
Who has $5,000 laying around to buy a pinball machine on a whim? Old wealthy people. This is why every game for the last decade is either based on a rock band from the 70s or 80s or an old film or comic books. They appeal to the 40 to 65 age demographic. COVID also helped the popularity as everyone was getting a free $1,200. They went and looked up pinball prices and realizes, oh, dang, for another $800, I could get a nice table, leading to everything being scooped up. Stock went down, demand went up. Simple as that.
I mean, that's like
Simple as that.
80% right. That's like 80% right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like on some level, like these pinball prices, does it line up with like the average demographic of people that subscribe to satellite radio? Because when I think about the artist themed stations that appear on satellite radio, it's like,
Oh,
we got
yeah.
a Bruce Springsteen station. We got Billy Joel. Next month we got U2. I'm like, what's the pattern here? Oh, well, these bands fucking suck and they're for old people.
Well, it takes a lot to say Bruce Springsteen sucks, but
I mean, I realize you're in New Jersey, and if you said that, they would kick down your fucking door and drag you away right
Here-
now.
they would. Here's the thing. I'm more of a Billy Joel fan. Don't tell anyone. But anyway, like I know that's blasphemy in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, it's all
I
right,
think
all right.
I think like the auction
Drinking and
prices
driving
is-
fan Jeff Bakalar over here is a big Billy Joel
Hey,
guy,
he
I
got
guess.
he cleared that, man. Look, I'm no
paid his debt to
I'm no-
society.
I'm no Bruce defender, okay? No, but like the auction thing is an anomaly because the auction thing is like this crazy thing
Yeah.
that got insane amounts of press and everyone was following it and it got all that got juiced. But yes, of course, like a lot of that scene is look, and pinball machines are a fuck ton to make. They are done by hand. Like they are not this cheap thing that
Yeah.
is that just get printed in a factory somewhere. I mean, they do get made in a factory, but it's like making a car. It's like fucking intense. Like,
Artisans.
you ever see like the
Artisanal
wiring
pinball
kit for one of these? It's like a central nervous system. It's
It's
fucking
ridiculous. That stuff's crazy.
Scary
sure.
looking.
Yeah. That's our last email. Pinball. We'll see what it does to pinball prices going forward. I think that's the thing, and I think
Well,
the
The Godzilla one is higher. They're like hundreds of dollars in each SKU is they've gone up. So
even
yeah.
new machines. That's
all those chips,
extra
man.
devious.
and
But
the
all those-
last time I spoke to Stern, my contact there, he's like, business has never been better. So there's a lot of truth to people who are stuck at home saying, you know what? Like, I'm going to get one of these fucking tables. I'm going to get one of these games. Like, yes, home ownership has skyrocketed for sure. I don't know a lot about the specifics of that demographic, but home ownership has definitely skyrocketed.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, you could tell once they started making this has been going on for years, but when they started making the different tiers of machine, we're like, this is the pro model, it's going to be extra, and it's got a few extra voice lines and gold rails, and, like all the way back to even Adam's Family and stuff like that. Like, you could tell that was heading in that direction of just like, we think collectors will pay extra money for some limited version of this pinball machine, and we can get them out of the gate.
And yeah, it's going to be interesting too to see what the themes are, because like you had a Stranger Things game, which I don't think appeals to like 65-year-old white men, and then that was like 3 years ago, and now we'll see what happens. It takes about a year to make a game, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's like that Wizard of Oz machine is maybe more their speed.
I remember
Citizen Kane.
My day.
Look, you got like Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Mandalorian is everyone, Ninja Turtles is I think everyone. So
Ninja Turtles maybe is a little Ninja Turtles is definitely some.
It was the '90s cartoon.
It was the
Ninja
90s
Turtles.
cartoon.
Speaking about the Ninja Turtles, they're releasing
Hero Turtles.
The Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
They're releasing a Kino action figure.
No
I'm
shit.
gonna buy 12.
No shit.
Wow.
Who's doing it? NECA?
Yes.
Of course.
Nice.
That's dope.
Shouts out to my guy Ernie Reyes Jr. I love you.
Did they get? Is it a good likeness? Did they show the
haven't
figure
shown
yet?
it yet. They just like
They haven't
tweeted
shown
at
it.
him,
Oh wow.
and then like eyeballs, and then I saved their homepage, just ready to go.
Well,
I got to buy 12.
I have so many of the Turtles NECA stuff. It's insane.
Nice.
I need him to have his.
You should see my Friday the 13th NECA collection.
Oh yeah, I mean their shit's bananas.
Ridiculous. Yeah, stuff is
I
so
feel like
good.
that's
I gotta
that's
get
an
that.
age difference thing where I feel like I am on the other side of Ninja Turtle stuff. That by the time it was coming out, I was a little too old for it, and I still thought it was
how
cool.
old were you? Yeah.
Well,
In
I
90
mean,
was the movie.
In 1990, I would have been 15.
Okay.
So, like, just
I
was
wasn't alive yet.
kind of
Yeah,
over the line.
I was younger because I got into the comic.
Oh
I
really?
Before it
had the
became a
comic.
cartoon, yeah.
I had like a reprint. I think I might still have it, but I have like the first reprint of issue #1 of the Turtles comic, and then didn't much care for it, so I just did not buy
And
number
isn't
2.
the story that like the comic is like super gory and graphic and
Super
fucked
dark.
up, right?
Yeah, super dark.
I say bad words.
That's right. It's messed up.
That'd be dope
Yeah.
if like the '90 movie was
But they
rated
all
R.
wore
Yeah.
red bandanas as well.
Oh, that's not confusing.
Even though it was a black and white comic, but on the covers, they were all colored.
Oh,
red.
that's right. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for us here. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week.
I'm gonna try and stream Mandalorian on Thursday. I just want to throw that out there.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. I like to
Disney
see
will
some
probably-
close up.
Not be happy with
Just
that.
start with episode 1 and just get through it and just
Yep.
No, the
Do a picture in
pinball
picture
machine
and-
game. I don't want to get clapped before I
Grogu.
even start the
Oh.
stream. Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
not called Baby Yoda. It's called Grogu.
Bruce Springsteen's going to kick down your door and be like, "This is for the Mandalorian and me,
not-
motherfucker."
Yeah.
I don't know. He's kicking anything.
And then Van Morrison's going to kick in the door and say, "Don't take your vaccines."
All right.
Oh shit. Caravan's a good song, but what the fuck, man?
We'll see everybody next week. Take care of yourselves. Vote if you're in California if you haven't yet.
Yeah. Fucking
Get
vote.
vaccinated.
Yeah, get out there.
Please.
Make it happen.
Oops. Oh. Why isn't this playing?
It is. I hear it.
Yeah, I hear
It
it.
is playing.
The video isn't playing. Oh god. It's all falling apart.